to join? Okay.
We can
start. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. Hi, Mr. Deji, can you please enable me to share my screen? Okay. Thanks for that. All right, good evening once again, everyone. My name is Mojola Iwala, and I'm a Scrum Master, and I'll be taking us through the process of daily stand-up tonight. Okay, before we start, I'd just like us to note these few house rules. Please, let's stay muted because the session is being recorded, and let's put our camera off to avoid distractions. And also, due to the limited time we have, if we can leave all questions till the end of the session, you can note your questions down, or if you feel that you might forget or anything, you can post them in the chat and then we will pick them up after the session. Thank you. Okay. So this evening, the purpose of this brief coaching is just to provide you with the knowledge that you need for your daily stand-up meeting that you'll be having. And this helps you to practically now run the event yourself. So over the course of this session, we're going to look at the meaning of daily stand-up, what it means. We'll be looking at the purpose. We'll look at the participants who participate in the daily stand-up meeting. We'll look at the activities you have before the meeting, the ones you have during the meeting, and then the activities that you have after the meeting. And then what is the outcome of your daily stand-up? What do you get? What value does it add to your team or add to the project? And then we'll just summarize everything we've looked at. We'll go to the question and answer side of things, and then we'll have the practical session where each team will be able to, based on what you've heard tonight, just do a practical of so that we know that everybody has an understanding of what has been shared tonight. All right, so a daily stand-up is a short and focused meeting that is held each day of the sprint by the Scrum team. And why they have it is for them to discuss the progress of the sprints and identify issues. When I mean issues, I mean impediments, anything that is disturbing or preventing them from carrying out what they need to do. Okay, and the purpose for the daily stand-up is for every member of the team to have a shared understanding, to have transparency, to be able to collaborate, they communicate, they identify and resolve issues that might be going on during the sprint. And all these help the team to be able to stay focused, on their goals, on what they need to do. So everyone is updated on the progress of the sprint. They understand what the others are working on. There's transparency because they've shared the progress of what they're doing. So all the other team members understand what they are doing. So there's transparency. They know what the others are working on. And then they're able to collaborate to overcome any impediment, any issues that might have arisen during, that either any one of the team members are shared. They're able to collaborate, look at it together, deliberate on it, collaborate in order to resolve that issue that has arisen. And this helps to promote, like I said, transparency. It helps them to be accountable within the team. So when they give their updates, they are being accountable to the task that has been assigned to them to do, or that they've assigned for themselves, to be able to do. So it makes them accountable. It makes the sprint transparent for everyone to see. And this helps them to build trust, and it also improves their communication, with one another. And by actively participating in the DSU, each team member can, it helps them to stay informed about, like I said, what others are doing. They're able to identify impediment. Impediment can be dependencies. So I'm not able to do this for one reason or the other. and they're able to look at, okay, so what is causing this dependency? What is causing you not being able to do this? And being able to resolve any dependency or any issue that they may have that is affecting their work together. And they're able to overcome challenges together as a team. So it's a team effort, it's a team work, and it helps them to stay aligned, it helps them to stay focused, and they are productive throughout the sprints. Go to the next slide. We want to look at the participants. Who are the people that participate during these events, during this daily Scrum event? Okay, before I go into the people that participate, the daily stand-up is one of the Scrum events. So we have some events. We have the sprint planning, daily stand-up, sprint review, sprint retrospective. So the daily stand-up is one of the events that is carried out during a sprint. Okay, so the people that participate during the daily stand-up, you have the product owner participates during that event, the Scrum Master participates and actually facilitates that event. You have the developers. When I say developers, putting all the 4 pictures that you're seeing at the bottom together, they're all called developers. But now we're talking about the website developer, we're talking about the business analyst as BA, you're looking at the tester who is the QA. And then in a situation where you have a DA in that particular team, if it's a Scrum team that there is a DA that is part of that team, you'll have a DA. Not all Scrum teams have a DA in their team, but if you have, and I've put a DA particularly because I know with the team that has been formed for your internship, there are DAs in your team, and that is why I've included a DA also in this presentation. So you can have a DA. You can actually have a DA with the Scrum team, working in the Scrum team if what the team is working on, it has a lot of data related work in it. So you will have a DA working within that team. Okay, so those are the people that actively participate during the DSU, during the daily stand-up. So when I say DSU, I'm also referring to daily stand-up. Okay, so and it's also called either daily stand-up or daily Scrum. So some people call it daily stand-up. It has moved from being called daily stand-up to daily Scrum. But you see some organizations are still calling it daily stand-up, and then some organizations are calling it daily Scrum. It's the same event that is being referred to. So activities that you carry out, these are the activities you carry out before the daily stand-up itself, the meeting itself. So before the meeting, this responsibility is the Scrum Master's responsibility. So if you're a Scrum Master, these are the responsibilities that you must carry out before you have the daily stand-up to ensure that the meeting runs smoothly and that the members stay focused. So you will prepare all this before. Okay, so you will remind the team members. As a Scrum Master, you can remind them, your team members, about the time and the location of the DSU. If it's a team that is co-located, you're on site, you're working on site, you might be using a particular room that you're using for the meeting, because mostly you want to keep to the same room. It has to be the same time. It's a time boxed meeting. The DSU is a time boxed meeting. It's time boxed for 15 minutes. That's the time that has been stated for it. And then for your team, you want to be doing it the same time. So let's assume you get to work and it has been fixed. When you're doing your team chat and all that, you agree that your daily stand-up is going to be 10 o'clock. So it's going to be between 10 and 10:15 that you do it every day of your sprint. So you can't have a thing that you do it on a Monday between 10 and 10:15, and then you're coming the next day and then you're saying, oh, okay, let's just change this. Let's do it now by 11 and 11:15. So it has to be fixed. It's 10 to 10:15. It stays 10 to 10:15. However, you can also have a room if you're on site, if a full team that is on site, you all work on site, you're collocated together in one geographical location where you're having where your team is. You can have it in a particular conference room. However, in a situation where that room is being used by somebody else, as a Scrum Master, you want to ensure that you have the space for that meeting. You don't want a situation where it's time to go for that meeting, you're going there with your team, and then you find another team having a meeting there. That means you're not prepared. You've not done what you need to do the activities that you need to do prior to that meeting. So you want to sort that out if you're co-located. If it's a remote team, definitely it's going to be a virtual meeting. So you would join your Teams channel, if that's what you're using, in order to be able to have, that meeting. Okay. And then the way that's when you're preparing the meeting space. When you remind your team members, you could remind them, you would have put all your events definitely on your planner. That gives kind of a notification and alert to the team members when you're having that, when that meeting is meant to come up, and then you will set it in such a way that it either gives them the notification or it alerts them roughly 15 minutes before the time of the meeting, so that they don't forget, or they don't get so focused on what they're doing and then forget that they're supposed to have that meeting. So that would have been on everyone's calendar or the team's planner, so that is able to notify everyone that when the meeting is happening. That's for your reminder team. So when it comes to the meeting space, is where you looking at the conference room or the meeting room that you want to use. That's if you're co-located together as a team. And then even if it's virtual, you want to be sure that there is no glitch with the Teams channel that you're supposed to use. It is not faulty. There's nothing wrong with it. Everything is working well and okay. So you don't have a situation where you are in the meeting and team members are telling you, oh, sorry, we can't join. We don't know what's going on and everything. You want to make sure that everything is planned and everything is prepared before you join that meeting. Another activity you carry out as a Scrum Master before you join the meeting is you monitor the team's progress. So you've gone on the project board, you've checked things prior to you coming to that meeting. You've checked, because that's what you do. You're the board administrator as a Scrum Master. So you've checked, okay, so we had this meeting yesterday. What has changed? What has been the progress between yesterday and today? That would help you to facilitate the meeting, because you yourself, you are aware of what is on the board, you are aware of the update. And if there's if there's any question you feel okay, so this wasn't like this yesterday and all that and everything, that is in a meeting where you can just get clarification. So they're not reporting to you, don't get me wrong, as a Scrum Master. It's a team's update. They're updating each other, like we said earlier on during the definition. We're sharing an update so that we can all work together, know what is going on, have a shared understanding, be transparent about what we're doing. So whatever question you have, you don't just get into that meeting and ask that question, okay, from any team member that you feel needs to give that clarification or that update. But at the end of it, when that person finished giving the update and all that, and that particular thing you feel, okay, so we need an update on this, that person is not giving it, you can just check. You can just do ask as a question. Oh, so I just want to know about this, and then that person will be able to give more depth or more clarity in that a particular thing. So you don't go into the meeting and start asking questions and taking over. Okay, you're a facilitator. So you allow them to be independent, to give the updates themselves. That's for the Scrum Master. So you've prepared that, you've monitored the progress of the team and everything, and then you go into the meeting. So the next set of activities we want to look at is the meeting itself. Okay, so once you start the meeting as a Scrum Master. This is kind of a step-by-step process of what typically happens during a daily stand-up meeting. That's what we want to look at now for a Scrum-based team. Okay, so you start the meeting as the Scrum Master, but there you start the meeting, and then you just remind the team, about the purpose of the DSU. You just remind them that the purpose is for to provide a quick update or a quick status update, let me put it that way, and then to identify any impediments or roadblocks that has been preventing team members from progressing, from doing their work. So you just want to remind everyone about that. And then the team starts giving, each member of the team gives their own update. Everybody is able to say, okay, so this is what I do. So the three short arrows in the middle practically guides the team members on what to say, so that they don't go outside the frame of what they need to say. Remember, it's just 15 minutes and everybody should be able to give update during that 15 minutes. So these three questions in the middle guides them to be able to know what to say. So they want to talk about what they did, what they work on, yeah, in the previous day, what they will work on today, and then also if there are any impediments preventing them from completing their work. So these 3 questions is at the back of their mind, and based on this, is as if they're answering these 3 questions. What did you work on yesterday? Okay, what will you work on today? And then are there any impediments preventing you from completing, your work? They're able to give updates based on that. And when that update is being given, every other team members needs to listen actively, because there's every possibility that what stands as impediment for one person might be a dependency from your side. So if you're not listening properly, you will not be able to give updates for that one to say, oh, so I did hear you saying that you're having an issue with this, you're having that issue because I need to do this and that first so that you're able to do that. So even at that meeting, your update can be a resolution to somebody else's impediment. That's why you need to listen actively during that meeting. The Scrum Master definitely needs to listen actively, but not just the Scrum Masters alone. It has to do with every member of the team. An impediment also, example, for another team member can actually be a clarification that the BA needs to give, a clarification that the PO needs to give. So that's why you need to listen actively so that you're able to resolve. Some issues can be resolved immediately. Like I said, your object can be a resolution to somebody else's impediment, what is impeding somebody else from doing their work. And that is why this meeting is so important, because then, there's transparency. Everybody gets to know what the other person is doing. Okay. And then also you want to limit the discussion, so that it doesn't run outside the 15 minutes mark that the meeting is meant to have. And that's why this 3 question is meant to guide. So when that 3 question is guiding, you want to limit. But in a situation where you're there, a team member is running on, and they're going outside the frame of giving a status report or status update of what they're working on. As a Scrum Master, you should be able to rein that person in to say, okay, so what you're saying is, so it's just trying to bring that person, on, so that they don't go too far, and then other people are able to give their own updates, because we don't want just a few people be able to give their updates and then you don't get updates from other people or other team members. Also, you have to take note of impediment. Like I said, not just the Scrum Masters alone. By the time you're listening actively and everything, definitely as a Scrum Master, you have to note any impediment, especially impediments that other people's updates are not resolving, impediments that might need to be resolved after the meeting, that can't be resolved during the meeting, that need to be resolved after the meeting, impediments that are out of the hands of the team members themselves to be able to resolve. Maybe they need more clarity, they need more information from the stakeholders and all that. Those are the things you want to note down, so that after the meeting, it's like a follow-on activity that you do. So that's part of the after activity, and then you keep to the time. Okay, so as the Scrum Master, you ensure that the meeting stays within the time box limits that you have, the 15-minute time box that you have. And after everybody has given the updates, you talk about, okay, so we'll get a follow-on. I'll get back to you on this one. We'll get back to you. So can we take it, after the meeting? Can we meet up to discuss things and things like that? You close the meeting. So you have to close the meeting. Again, the Scrum Master, that is your job, because you're the one facilitating this meeting. So you close the meeting. And then the team members, can, like I said, they can have a follow-on on the issue that has been raised during that meeting based on each other, based on the team members' skills. If a team member can resolve issue for each other, one another, that's fine. If not, Scrum Master, you have to take it on and you note those impediments down. Okay. Quickly, before we go to the after activities, I thought I would just give an example of the update. We've talked about what did you do and all that. So as what kind of update can a PO, a product owner, give? So a product owner can give update based on backlog prioritization, be based on a new requirement, or based on change in an existing requirement. So there's a story in sprint and the stakeholder wants it in another way, in another way, or they have an additional criteria or criterion to add to that particular existing story, and they've told the PO, and the PO needs to carry all the team members along, not just the BA, and tell the BA, oh, go and add this to the story, because that story has been committed into sprint. They're working on it. Okay, so the PO has to bring it. That's an update that the PO can bring. Example of an update that the PO can bring. So also if there's a new requirement, a new story that the PO wants the team to bring into the sprint, and it is priority over everything that is inside the sprint, it won't be done behind. So the PO is not just going to go and meet the developer to say, oh, one of the developers, and say, oh, can you work on this and everything. The PO brings it to this meeting because of transparency and shared understanding, so that everybody is able to know that, okay, this needs to go on. That doesn't mean the whole thing about that story, clarity, estimation, and everything will be done during that 15 minutes. There will definitely be an ad hoc meeting to do that, to it, but that transparency and that shared knowledge is brought into the DSU. The PO can do that. For the BA, it could be clarity on an existing story. So maybe the developer or the QA, the tester, is giving an update and said, oh, while I was testing this, I wasn't really clear about this. The BA at that meeting is able to provide clarity on an existing story or a new story that has been added, during the sprint. So that's part of the updates. Just example, that's what I'm just giving, so that you have an example of, okay, so when we say they're giving updates, what do you mean? So this is just an example. Okay, so for the developer also, the developer gives an update on the developing activity that the developer is working on. And I've just given an example there. So maybe the developer is developing feature and functionality for login now. Okay, the login form, how is it integrated onto the website and everything. The developer is able to give an update on that this is what I'm working on right now. Maybe I started working on it yesterday, I'm going to complete it today, and everything like that. Is able to give that that update of where exactly she is. I've done 90%, or maybe I've done 85%. I'm going to complete it today and all that, and move that to done before I pick on my next task to do. So those are the updates that the developer can give. And again, if the developer is part of the people that either the PO or the BA can give clarity to. So while I was working on it, there are times when you look at the acceptance criteria and it look applicable and practicable, but until the developer gets to start coding and doing what they need to do, they might not know how it's going. They might meet an unknown element. Let me put it that way. And with that unknown element they meet, they can come back to get clarification from the PO or the BA, on how applicable that particular feature is on the website. And so that's why they give updates, so that all these do not wait until the end of the sprint before they collaborate on, okay, so let's do it on another way, or let's adjust things. So they inspect and adjust things while they're going on. And that's part of what they do during the DSU. Also the QA, the update, an example of the update the QA gives is the testing activity that they are carrying on what has been developed by the developer. So I've used an example of the feature and functionality. So they carry out, because they need to have quality. They check the quality of what has been developed, so that value is added at the end of the sprint, to the project that is being worked on. Okay, and in the situations where you have a DA in that particular term, like I said earlier on, so the DA gives update on data related tasks. Okay, it might be data quality. What is the quality of the data, that is either being added to the project? They're able to give recommendation, provide insights regarding the data, to say, okay, so it's not looking good, or it's not properly, designed, it's not properly done, and all that. So they are able to give insights and then give recommendations, and then the team collaborates together based on whatever the data and the update of the data analyst in order, again, to be able to add a better value, and be productive to the project that is being worked on. So the team collaborates based on all these updates in order to ensure, that quality and value is added to the project, and also so that they can deal with any issue earlier on time. They don't wait until the end of the sprint. And then that's when they start saying, oh, I noticed this while I was working, because this meeting is a daily meeting. Any impediment, anything preventing work being done, any early detection of issues are being dealt with quicker, so that they can resolve it, and then they can move ahead. It doesn't, delay work or become great blocker. So we will go to look at all the activities that are done after the meeting. So after the meeting, in a situation where the sprint backlog needs to be updated based on the information, let's use an example of the PO brought in, the PO added a story during the sprint, and during that daily DSU was when they've been informed. So the team will be told that, okay, this will be added to our sprint backlog, which is the list of the tasks that will be done or is being done during the sprint. And then there would have been negotiations and all that, or the negotiations can come during the hard doc meeting to say, okay, so if we're taking this one in, are we taking anyone out? Those are part of the activities that you do. So any updates that would affect the sprint backlog, definitely that the sprint backlog will be updated. Okay, and then you have follow up on identified issues. So if any impediments that were raised during that meeting, you want to follow it on, either as a Scrum Master, or if it has been assigned to any of the team members, or any of the team members have committed to it, oh, don't worry, that one I would resolve it. You want to follow up on it to make sure that that person actually is going to do that, is going to carry that out to do it. You know, you've noted all these issues down, all these impediments down, and you want to follow it up. So these are activities that you do after the daily stand-up, because you're going to give updates on it in the next day, because it's a daily meeting that you're having. And then in a situation where you need to have ad hoc meetings, okay, because remember it's 15 minutes. So there are some things that you might not be able to resolve within that 15 minutes, and you want to do it after the meeting. So there might be ad hoc meetings that the team might need to have in order to resolve issues. An example is if a new story is added, and during that DSU meeting is when the PO tells you, you will definitely have an ad hoc meeting in order for the developers and the testers to have a look at the story, get clarification, estimate that story, and then commit to that story based on their capacity. Number one, if it's priority, it needs to go in. You might negotiate another story coming out, but then you want to have ad hoc meetings, and these are activities that happen after the meeting. And then you're looking at continuous improvement. As a Scrum Master, I'm not focusing just on Scrum Master, but because they are the process, they don't control the process, but they teach the team about the process. Okay, so they look at continuous improvement, and they are not the only ones looking at continuous improvement. Every member of the team are looking at continuous improvement. So this is like this: what do we need to do? Even at that meeting, you inspecting and adapting and making changes, giving updates and resolving issues is a continuous improvement on what you're doing, you know, already. So the team members may use, you know, the insights and the feedbacks that have been gathered during this meeting in order to continuously improve their process and their workflow and the progress at which they are working, you know, within the team. Also, the Scrum Master can organize, you know, organize and coach organize coaching sessions in a situation where during the meeting there's been observation of skill gaps and all that. They might organize some coaching sessions, or maybe it's the process. They notice that, okay, so there are some gaps with some of the members when it comes to the process and all that. They would organize coaching sessions. It might be a one-on-one coaching session. It might be a team coaching session, in order to fill up that gap, in order to bridge that gap, so that, you know, all team members are as at par as possible. So these are part of the activities that you do after that meeting. Okay, so what value really is your daily stand-up adding to the team, to the project, and also to the sprint? It increased transparency, because by the time everybody knows what the other person are doing, you know, you have transparency within the team. It improved the team's communication. You're all communicating well. You're all working together as a team. You're all sharing knowledge, you know, with each other. So it improves your communication. It increased collaboration. Your teamwork is your collaboration. When this person comes and say, okay, so I'm doing this, but I'm having this this issue and everything, and another team member is able to say, oh, don't worry, why don't we do it this way? I'm able to teach you, you know, I'm able to show you what you need to do so that you don't have such issue later on, or they deliberate on a particular issue that is coming up, and they're able to resolve it and all that. That is the team collaborating, and that increase their collaboration as they go ahead. And that increase, that all this transparency, communication, collaboration increase the productivity at the end of the day. The meeting is productive. What is being added to the project is productive. You're adding value when you keep having this meeting, and you keep, you know, improving on what you're doing. The quality that you're adding to the website or to whatever you're building, you know, is getting better and it's getting higher, it's having a high quality. So it increased the productivity of what the team is doing within the sprint, and that adds to what you're doing on the project. And then there is early detection of potential issues. Like we said, you're able, by the time the person talks, you're able to say, okay, so we need to nip this in the bud. There is a dependency somewhere. The dependency might not even fall within the team. It might be an information content or thereabout that the team needs from the stakeholders and all that. But when you keep having this meeting and you're sharing updates and all that, you're able to early detect any potential issues that you have and quickly nip it in the bud before it becomes big. So this early detection of potential issues, the potential, I can call them risk, because they're not issues yet, they're just risks at that time until they become an issue. So while they are risks, they are able to deliberate on mitigating action that can be put in place in order to resolve them. So these are the outcomes, these are the value that your DSU, your daily DSU meeting adds to your project, to your team's performance also, and then to the sprints that you're working on. Okay, so in summary, this night we've been able to talk about the meaning and the purpose of a daily stand-up. We've been able to know that it is one of the Scrum events. It's a meeting that happens every day for 15 minutes. It's time boxed for 15 minutes. It happens at the same hour of the day for 15 minutes, and every team member actively participates during this meeting. And then you have activities that you do before the meeting, the activities that you carry out during the meeting, and you have activities that you carry out after the meeting. And then we've just talked about the value that the meeting adds to the project, adds to the team itself, and then also adds to the sprint that you're having. Okay, so that in a brief summary, that's what we've discussed tonight. Okay, so we'll go to the questions and answer session before we have our own practical session with the teams. So do we have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, good evening. Well, actually, I was online on time, but I was having a little issues to know where I will be viewing your shared screen. So I've been on the team profile on Microsoft. So I didn't actually get the beginning part of your lecture. Do you get? So that's the only question I think I have for now. The beginning part of your question, of your lectures, I didn't get that part. I just got the last let's say 5 minutes ago. That's
Okay.
when I actually joined the.
Okay, so can I just ask, what's your name?
My name is Onome Bobson.
Okay, so because we're all just, this is like the first meeting we're having. So if you unmute to ask a question, it will be good if we introduce ourselves. It helps us to get to know each other better, isn't it?
Okay, thank you. That's nice.
So I want to believe, Onome, that you've been added to a team. You're on the, okay. So if you've been added to a team, if you're on the Telegram, the meeting link was shared on the Telegram, and where the meeting was going to be held was shared to be Zoom and not Teams.
Okay, so sorry about that.
So that was shared.
Sorry, Moji.
Yeah.
There will be time for question and answer at the end of the program, because you are now running ahead of schedule right now. So I think we need to move into the
next
daily stand-up. Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
All right.
Then there will be, I know there are lots of questions there, so we've kind of moved one of the program away, right, to to kind of sort any questions that anyone will have from line to whenever. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Deji, for that. Okay, so if we have, I want to believe we have all the Team Ruby. Let's start with Team Ruby. Okay, I want to believe that you have your Scrum Masters here also, and every team member is here. Can I get one of the Scrum Masters? Everybody will talk. Everybody in that team will talk based on what we've talked about tonight. Okay, so Team Ruby, can we have a show of hand for every member of Team Ruby? And then get every member of Team Ruby. Can you please identify by show of hands? Okay, so what we're going to do is as a team, based on what we've said tonight, what you've just said in the last few minutes tonight, can you please just let's use you being on this project from yesterday, your induction. So you're going to give us updates based on your induction from yesterday to what you've done today and any impediments that you have. So when you unmute yourself, please just tell us your name and then just say it, and just follow that that updates that we give. What did you do yesterday? What did you work on yesterday? What did you work on today? I know today is almost at the end of the day. And then what impediments do you have? Okay, so I'll just call on, as I'm seeing you on my screen, I'll call on you so that everybody is not talking together. You're on mute, and then you say that, and then let's just say you have roughly 1 minute to do that. Okay, so I'll start with Ade.
Hello, my name is Ade Sarumi. Yesterday I went through what Deji was talking about, that we should try and get ourselves organized. I went through that and waited for the portal to link up with the team, which I did successfully. And this morning I went back to find out what was missing because my Zoom I couldn't log into my Zoom, but I used my phone to log in. So I'm using my laptop and my mobile number to deal with this situation right now. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ade. Kingsley. Kingsley, you're next. If you can unmute and just yeah.
Hello. Yeah, I'm Salome Kingsley. So before now, I've been making research about the role of a business analyst and all that that is required. And yeah, it has been an interesting one. Also making sure that my Zoom app and everything is in order for me to be able to join the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Salome, for that. Oluwatosin.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Tosin. Yesterday, I was able to attend the induction, and today I hope to learn about the sprint demo and how to elicitate. So far, there has not been any impediment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tosin, for that. Uche, can you go next, please?
Hi, my name is Uche. So yesterday we were asked to set up our teams chats for the individual teams. Also yesterday we were divided into groups, which is the Ruby and the Emerald team. We also had a mini induction yesterday where we went through the schedule for the projects and what teams everyone was going to be on. And today, this will be the first week of the first sprint week. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but yeah, today is obviously the first meeting we're having, and obviously getting to know the team and getting to know what we're doing on the project. Thank you.
Fumilayo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fumilayo Adeniyi. Yesterday, we were introduced into the training, and the timetable for the training was given to us. And today, we were added to different groups, which I belong to the Ruby. And some minutes ago, we started the daily stand-up training, which is today. The impediment I had earlier today was that I was unable to join the team via my laptop, which later during the day I did. So that was all. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for me. Chinyere.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Chinyere. Yesterday, after the induction, I was able to go to Blue Sky Citadel YouTube channel to research on other events they did previously, just to get myself ready for today. So after that, I tried also to research on other YouTube channels and other materials on how to run an effective daily stand-up. And today, yeah, I'm hoping today to meet my team members, know who they are personally, so that we can work as a team. Thank you.
Thank you, Chinwe. Israel, quickly. We have just 3 minutes for Team Ruby before we go into Emerald.
Hi, good evening. My name is Israel. Yesterday I went through BA in general because I had to know the theory aspects before going into the practical. So I was able to go through the theory aspect. And today what I did was I went through some interview questions. So I'll know where to focus on and everything. I know it's still probably 2 months, 3 months time, but I tend to try to learn as fast as I could. So yeah, that was what I did, and I had no issues so far. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Israel. We have Tilda.
I think you skipped me.
I'll come
Hello?
to you, Arthur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday during the intro meeting we had, that was when I realized that I was in the DA group, and I thought I was supposed to be in the QA group. I thought that was what I paid for. But then again, I just simply decided instead of switching, I would do more research on the DA, and I realized it, you know, because I live in America, I realized it's there's a lot of jobs on DA in America compared to QA. So I decided to just stick with it. And also one of the impediments was the time for me, because I know you guys, most of the people on the school, it works out of them because they are, 7, 8 after work for actually being a 9 to 5, but I'm trying to juggle it with work and the training as well. So I've been able to balance it at least for today. So that's it.
I thank you, Tilda. Arthur, can we have you?
Yes.
My name is Arthur, and yesterday joined the introductory session. Today, attending the Sprint Zero, no impediments at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arthur. Christiana?
Hi, everyone. My name is Christiana. I joined the induction yesterday. It's been a smooth, for me, it's been a smooth ride for me so far, registering and all that. And the only impediment I have is just work, but I think I can make it work because I actually work like 8 in the morning to 9 p.m. and it might not be quite easy, but I'm looking forward to doing my best because I'm looking forward to learn a lot and meet other group members. So yeah, that's it.
I thank you so much, Larry.
All right, good evening. My name is Lanre Aderomo. Well, I attended the induction yesterday, and I'm looking forward to learning more about BA. The only thing I would have expected by now is to have all the online materials. I was expecting all through yesterday till now that will be added to the prep or an online platform where we have videos to watch that prepares me for the day. What I've done is to just leave out a full month for this training. I'm willing to go the full hog. Hopefully it comes out very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Emanuela, quickly, please. 30 seconds, Emanuela. Hello, Emanuela. Okay, while we're waiting for Emanuela, Olu, if you can go next. Oh, okay. Are you ready now?
Yes.
Right,
Hi,
quickly,
my
please.
name is Emanuela. Wasn't able to join the induction yesterday. Joined the group, the team today, and so far it's been great. So looking forward to more. Thank you.
Thank you, Olu. Lastly.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Olu. Yeah, I was able to join the induction
on Zoom yesterday. Yeah, and I was able to join the team on the Telegram channel. Yeah, and now I'm joining the first day of the training today. Thank you.
I thank you so much, Olu. So
I must have missed my turn. I'm sorry. That's Daniel Ruby.
Okay. So we'll have to stop with Ruby now because we're eating into the next team's group team.
Okay.
So it's just for us to have an idea. Do you understand? This is our first come. Don't worry, you're here. So that's fine. Okay. So all the Ruby team members, if you can put your hands down. If Daniel, if we have time at the end, if Deji permits, you can do yours, okay? So that you can have that, that feel. So if you can have all the hands of every Ruby members down, and then Emirate, can we have all the team members in Emirate? If you can have your hands up, please. Emirate, if you can have your hands up. While everybody is raising their hands, please, once you've given your own updates, you can lower your hands because then that helps me to know who has given so that I don't call the names twice, okay? So I'm going to start with Adidayo.
Good evening. My name is Adidayo Otubo. I joined the registration team yesterday quite late, and everything has been smooth sailing. I was able to join the team group, and I'm actually just doing the first meeting now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dayo. Vivian.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Vivian. I was able to join the induction yesterday where DG gave us a rundown of the program, the schedule for the program. I was also able to set up my teams, and today I've been doing some research on YouTube and going through the Scrum guide and also to look at the responsibilities and roles of the Scrum Master. I haven't had any impediments yet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Eniela?
My name is Eniola, and yesterday I joined the induction program yesterday, and during the induction, they showed us the schedule for the program, which was really interesting, and how we are going to be really into that. And afterwards, he said we should go to the pre-courses website and then look at all the videos. But after the meeting, the induction yesterday, I went through it, but unfortunately it hasn't been updated yet. But I will still keep on checking just to check the videos that is related to each of the daily schedule that we have. So hopefully that will be put up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Eniola. Jacob?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Jacob Alabi. I wasn't able to join the meeting yesterday, but fortunately for me, through the Telegram group, I was able to set myself up with the teams. And today, I think I kind of made a mistake with joining on Teams. We were there shouting, trying to get your attention. And then on the Emirate Telegram, we're able to know that we had to join through Zoom. So that was the issue. Eventually, it was resolved, and that's fine. Everything is okay now. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacob. Kayode.
Yeah, good evening. Yesterday I was in the meeting yesterday where they put us through the housekeeping and all the introduction of all the classes and all the groups that we are going to be grouped into, and then promised to send us a video of pre-lessons video, but I tried to watch it. It didn't work. So today as well, the only ECOG I had today was I was in the team. I logged in with the team, but later on I just discovered that the team is not working. Then when I checked the Telegram, I saw that there is Zoom link, so I just joined the Zoom. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Kayode. Martha.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Martha. I joined the induction yesterday. I was able to catch up on the program that is lined up for the different models courses. And today I was prepped up for the first meeting, and it went smoothly. The only impediment I had was I found my mind wandering yesterday during the induction because I was placed in a different class. But after I sent an email to request that I be changed to what I applied for, this was effected. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Onome?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Onome Bobson. Yesterday, I was not on the group. I wasn't able to join the group because I was trying to get myself ready for the program, so that I'll be able to give the program as in a straight 1 month for not doing anything to commit myself for the program. So today, I tried to join the link, but I did a mistake to join the team. So I don't know the person that helped me. Anyway, her name, I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Titi Lola Ajayi was the one that sent me the link. So eventually I was able to join the Zoom link. That's all for now.
Thanks, Onome. Kingsley?
Hi, everyone. My name is Kingsley Emery. So yesterday I joined the induction and it went all well. Today I had to prep myself ahead of today's sprints, preparing for going through some of the elicitation requirements so as to get ready and not be taken unaware. So no impediment so far. Going forward, I'm looking forward to joining my team members. Thank you.
Thank you, Kingsley. Desiree?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Desiree. I couldn't join the meeting yesterday as I had a prior commitment to go to, but I've not had any issues with the links or anything like that. So this is my first meeting today as well.
Thanks. Jeffrey?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeffrey. I was in the induction section yesterday where a detailed schedule for the program was provided. We're also instructed to make sure we had set up or we'll set up our team's profile before the meeting, and also make sure that we join the right team. And Deji has also mentioned that we'll be able to stream the videos and the videos for the program in the portal. So I tried doing that today, but the video was not still available. So I've not had any impediment so far, but the course seems to be interesting so far. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks, Jeffrey. Delphine?
Yeah, hello, good evening. My name is Delphine. Yesterday, I was able to board in and also had some chat with our team members, which was really beautiful. Today, we will be having our first daily stand-up for updates. And for now, I don't have any impediment. I'm looking forward for work in progress.
Thanks, Delphine. Rafi, sorry if I murdered your name.
Hi, everyone. My name is Raphael. Yesterday we had the induction by Mr. Deji and how the course is gonna go. And today we've done how we're gonna carry out daily stand-up and how it's meant to go. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Raphael. Victoria.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. So yesterday I joined in through Zoom. I listened to the timetable, what group we were meant to be a part of. I didn't realize what group I was meant to be a part of until today. Today I read, some of the Scrum Master framework just to get caught up on what Scrum Master is all about, because that's the training I'm interested in. And today I've just joined on Teams, got myself set up on Teams, and I'm ready to, well, get caught up in the Scrum Master world.
All right, thanks, Victoria. Adiboyega.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Adegboyega. Yeah, I was able to join the induction yesterday, though I was late, but I was able to catch up, and I understood everything Deji had told us yesterday. And for today, I have done probably majority of what we are expected to do, and I joined my team, Team Emerald, today. But today I was even thinking this meeting will be for 7:30. So today I joined a bit late. Well, I'm hoping to get the best out of the course. Thank you.
Thanks, Boyega. Moyowa.
Yeah, my name is Muyiwa Olabode. I'm in the Emerald Group. The induction yesterday was quite expository. The only impediment I have is the registers we are using. The sprints are much more familiar with the language in athletic world, not in this kind of world. That's all.
Thanks, Muyiwa. Kolawole.
Hi everyone, my name is Kolawole Aguda, and I joined the induction yesterday with Mr. Deji, and everything went smoothly. And I later went to watch the introduction program on YouTube, which is everything is fine. But what I want to ask about the impediment I have is that the Scrum Master be a software tester. Are they work in heavy organization? Is there any organization that you won't find a Scrum Master, BA, and what is it called? SM, the testers. Is there any organization that you won't like you find a BA, you won't find the Scrum Master? That's the impediment I want to add. I think we are not yet time to get there, but I really want to know, like, just to prepare myself.
All right, thanks, Kolawole. Bukola.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Bukola. Yesterday I was able to attend the induction, and everything explained there was well understood, and I made sure that I got myself ready for today, set up the team, but I was surprised that we had to use Zoom because I was waiting on Teams, sending messages that I could not see the screen being shared. So later I had to check the Telegram group, and I saw that a link to the Zoom was dropped there. So I later joined the Zoom, but I joined late. The only impediment I'm experiencing right now is that most of the terms, the technologies used, I'm not really familiar with it. So I think I have to get myself familiar with those terms so that I can get along. But so far, I think I'm really hopeful and everything is getting interesting. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for the updates that you've given. Thank you. Deji, do you want to give feedback? We can put our hands down now since we've all given our feedback. Hi, Deji, are you there? Hello, Deji.
I'm not sure it's around. Maybe it's just
Yeah, he's there. I just need him
yeah,
to, let's just give him
yeah,
some few
maybe he
minutes.
stepped out. That's what I'm
Mm.
trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking also. Okay, so let's just give the roughly 1 or 2 minutes, okay, for him to come back to the meeting, and then he gives feedback on the updates that we've given. But I would say we all did well. We did try. We kept it to the task, what we've done. We do have some that went a bit out of, given because the idea was for you to talk about what you have done yesterday, what you did today, and then if you have any impediment. But majority, at least I can say 95% of everyone that spoke actually, kept it to that about, and they kept it within what you've done since the induction till the meeting we are right now. So well done for everyone and that spoke. And for the ones that have impediment, most of your impediments are really questions that you want answered, and that's why I needed you to give feedback so that we take it the way he wants us to take it. So please just bear with us. Yeah.
Okay. Hi everyone.
Okay.
As regards the feedback section will hold after 10 p.m. after the sprint planning section. So you can just note your questions, and we have actually 1 hour to speak on that after the sprint planning section. So, and those of you that your hands are up, I don't know if it's for fresh questions or you need to put your hands down. Okay, I guess we should probably just dive into the next session. So my name is Olawumi Adeleye. Hi everyone. I hope you guys can hear me, hopefully. So it will be a bit like more detailed or will I say straight to the point for this particular session, so that we just have an idea of how to go about, how to go about the next session. So the next session is on sprint planning. Sorry, okay. Please, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes.
I just wanted to be sure it wasn't Moji's screen. So before we start, I'll just give us a couple of ground rules. I already introduced myself. My name is Olawumi Adeleye. For the ground rules, the same thing Moji said earlier. Let's just try and mute ourselves and keep the questions to the end. It's going to be a very fast one because Moji has given you enough background of some of the things that will probably be mentioned, right? So I'll put this on presentation mode. Okay, so we're going to be doing an introduction to sprint planning. I'm actually going to go straight to the point because we are going to be doing the practical part of it just to show you how it goes, and it will run way shorter than we imagine. It's just for us to have a feel of how to go about it. I also need you guys to pay attention, and it's just an encouragement. Please don't feel overwhelmed. I've started hearing questions of, you don't know the terminologies and all. Something you do every day, you get to know it. So you don't need to rush, but at the same time, just take in as much as you can. Moji, just a heads up to check your message. Then there's something we all need to know about Agile. I know all of you know our methodology here is we're using Scrum methodology for Agile. I'm mentioning some of these things so we also have a background understanding of what we are doing today. So Agile is about failing fast and picking yourself up immediately. So no matter what you do, please don't feel like, oh, I'm not getting it or anything. Don't feel overwhelmed. Sprint planning. There's this quote we all know, which is on my screen right now. He who fails to plan, plans to fail. So if you don't plan something, I don't know how you want to proceed. I don't know who wrote it, but I'll claim it that I'm the author. I don't know the author of this, but I'll just claim it today that I'm the author. So what's sprint planning? Sprint planning is a ceremony or meeting in Scrum that is ideally the first ceremony you do within a Scrum team. So what are the things we do inside of it? Those are the things I will be speaking about. And please note that the upcoming slides are also going to be taken in details when it's the right time. But without the background I want to give you, you won't be able to understand what you need to do about sprint planning. Hence, while the rough draft of each of the sections that we're about to go ahead to show you. So sprint planning is about the team identifying what we need to do. And when I mean the team, in the subsequent slide, I'll show you what the combination of what a team is in Agile. So in this case, it would be like a PO giving you the picture, the vision of what we are going to do within the team. So the PO is part of the Scrum team. So we're saying the team will identify the work that needs to be done within the sprint, right? And sprint planning also outlines the scope of the project, all the things we need to do in that project to make it something viable at the end of the day. It's also worthy to mention the Scrum ceremonies. We have the sprint planning, we have the daily Scrum, which you just did now, which is the daily stand-up. We have the sprint review, we have the sprint retrospective and the backlog refinement. In short words, not to take up our time, every member of the team has to be involved in all these ceremonies. Every Scrum team member. The only time we need additional people that we invite will be during the sprint review, which is this middle one. We need to invite stakeholders, subject matter experts, or anyone we know has power. I will not confuse you by saying power and influence now, but people that have power, influence in the project are the people that we're going to invite for our sprint review. But for every other meeting, it's just the Scrum team that will be there. The hours, I'm going to be focusing on sprint planning because that's what we're going for. So the hours we need for a sprint planning within a sprint, actually, ideally, right? It depends on the number of, weeks you have within the sprint, right? But usually for a 2-week sprint, some say 4 hours, but it's ideally 2 hours. But I just needed to show us that, right? Now, like I said earlier, who are the attendees of this sprint planning? We have just the Scrum team. And in the Scrum team, we have the product owner, we have the Scrum master, and we have the development team. Now, in the development team, it's no more called development team. We call it developers now, right? But when we say developers, don't think because you're a QA, that's a tester, or you're a BA, you're part of this team. We're just trying to say the real people doing the actual physical work to make this project come to life. So BAs, QAs, it depends on your company. So in the real world, we have designers, we have different people, to carry this on. So there are different people here, data analysts, everybody, they're within the development team, right? So this is I just also felt that we should see a glance of all the sprint activities that we do. And at the start of the sprint, or will I say pre the sprint, we have something we call retrospective. we have what we call sprint refinement. So that refinement is ideally not part of the ceremonies in quotes that comprises of all the ceremonies within Scrum, but it is a very important ceremony that you have to do to enable your sprint planning go fine. So I'm only mentioning the refinement now so that we know that refinement is used to work ahead. So ideally now is because you're in sprint 0, what you should be doing prior entering into a full sprint is a refinement. So you're going to sit down and do a refinement as a team. So what do you do in the refinement? In the refinement, you sit down, you get the vision from the PO of what we are supposed to do. You write your stories and all, but pre-refinement stories would have been coming up gradually. And then you sit down, the BAs, the Scrum Master can be there to facilitate, the developers, QA, DAs, you sit down and now start analyzing the stories to be sure that this story, it is good enough for us to take into sprints. Right? So during your refinement, it depends on your team and how you do things. Please, I also need to mention to you guys that nothing is cast on stone when it comes to, how you handle your team in the real world and here. Nothing is cast on stone because we say, okay, you must do sprint refinement for 2 hours. You have to sit down. Even if it's 30 minutes you want to use within your sprint to achieve what you want to do, but just make sure you do these ceremonies at convenient time for the team. And, a time that is kind of reoccurring so that they won't always forget, right? So you make sure you sit down and do your refinement. So refinement, as the word is, I like to use that to explain, is refining your stories, making what you are about to set out to do for this sprint planning we're talking about now, to make it easier. So the PO is looking at the stories, prioritizing it. Okay, this is the business need right now. This is the business priority. Okay, so the business says we want to do this website, and then the PO is telling you that, for this sprint 1, the focus is on login and, all the login details you need to do, maybe even, let's even go back to the stats, for example, the landing page, for example, what's going to be the color, well, what is going to be our logo, all those kind of things. So the PO is telling us all what it should be. And those things are already in stories. In the new column, I'm going to show us this physically, it's going to be on there, and then you start discussing as a team and refining that story, making it make sense. I'm trying to use the layman way to explain to you guys so that when you start, because you're going to do this training, I hope you guys know is hands-on. You are going inside straight to start, right? So you are discussing as a team, you are ripening that story, making that story, reasonable and understandable. You are putting yourself in the position of a user while you're explaining the story. Don't worry, for BAs, you get to get trained on, how to write your stories and everything. So that's not a problem, but I'm just giving us a mental picture of how it's going, right? So when you refine the story, now we can sit to say we want to do a sprint planning at the start of the sprint. So sprint planning is done at the start of the sprint, while refinement is done ahead of the start of the sprint. So I still don't want us to lose focus. We are talking now, focusing on sprint planning, right? So we want to plan as a team. The first thing is, we sit down as a team for the sprint planning. The first thing to know, ideally, is the capacity of the people that are about to work in this sprint. So who are the people working within this sprint? In the ideal world, let me use your names so that it will be more practical. So we have Delphine. So Delphine is going to go on vacation on the 12th and 13th of this month. And do you think it's reasonable for us to give Delphine the work of, okay, let me break it down. To bring it down to you guys to understand more, in a sprint, you can have 1 week sprint, 2 week sprint, 3 week sprint, 4 week sprint, whatever you like, but ideally, usually we have 2 week sprints. But in this your set, right, you're going to be having a 1 week sprint because we want you to get your hands dirty continuously as fast as you can. So we're going to be working with a 1 week sprint. 1 week sprint is telling us 7 working days. Ideally, in the real world too, I keep mentioning this so that you don't go to interviews and say we have 7 days in a week, or we have 7 days in a week is just because we want you to get your hands dirty. right? So ideally, in the real world, you have 5 days in a week. So if you're going to have a 2-week sprint in the real world, can somebody tell me, just unmute quickly, can somebody tell me how many days will be your working days in the real world?
10.
5
Thank
days.
you. 10 working days. So,
Yes.
but now for this particular diet that we're having now, how many working days do you have in your 1-week sprint?
7.
7 days.
Thank you. So in this your 7 working days, Delphine is going out for 2 days. Is it ideal to give Delphine 7 days worth of work?
No.
Will she be able to do it?
No.
Now, even if Delphine is Power Rangers and Magician, and she decides that I even want to take up this work, right? Will she give you quality work?
No.
No.
Scrum does not joke with quality. Don't worry, we get to see all the features, scope, and everything as we go. We don't joke with quality in Scrum. We can play around with 1 or 2 things, but you don't joke with the quality of your work when it comes to Scrum. So the capacity of the team is very key in determining how we want to start our sprint. So your capacity as a team. I won't, because the real reason I don't want us to see a capacity plan sheet now is it's a whole lecture day that Moji will take for the capacity planning. So showing you now, if I open it, it will be 1 hour, so there's no use, right? There's a lot of things going on there. You're just calculating the number of days, you know, each person is working for the sprints, and then you add it up together, look at the percentage of work that person should carry. But before you do that, you know, the amount of story points the person should swallow. Don't let me deviate to story points so you don't get confused. But I've made it as lame as you can understand to say that as a team, make sure you know those that are going on holiday, those that are not available. You can say, we're all doing projects today, right? Even in blue sky way of things, we're all doing projects, everybody will be there. No, Delphine tomorrow can say she has she's going on night shift or something. Let's say she's working nights and she's really not able to join. Do you want to give her the capacity for that day? Do you understand what I mean? So we need to know how we are going to do this. Delphine, please put your hands down so that you don't confuse me to ask you questions. So that's that. That's one thing we need to know, you know, for the first thing you need to do when you want to start your sprint planning. So this is, onus is on Scrum Master to do this, and the Scrum Master will need to find out the capacity of the team. Now, in also the ideal world, if this is your first time ever starting that particular team, you need to know that your team has the technical know-how, technical skills to carry out the project that it has been set up for you to, you know, do. Don't just say, you know, you don't care, they would have recruited good people. Make sure you start and find out, you know, if these people are able to do the job set out to do. And, you know, you also have people that are a bit more senior in the team that can help, you know, coach people and all that. So that aside. Okay, another thing we need to know is our artifacts in Scrum. I had to put this because your stories are going to be staying on a product backlog, right? Before we sprint it. So it's ideal for us to know, the amount of work we can sprint. So I'm going to also explain this in a layman way because we're going to let this we are going to train you on the Scrum artifacts later, right? I will put it as easy as it is so that it will stick to you. Product backlog. I can give you the, you know, ideal textbook meaning of what a product backlog is, but no, I won't give you that because it will confuse a lot of you, right? Because I can easily tell you that, oh, a product backlog, the piece of work the customer recognizes as valuable, blah, blah, blah. No, that is what it is, right? What is valuable to the customer? That's what a product backlog is. But in your mind, just have it as product backlog is everything we think we can do on that project. Everything we think we can do on that project. So what are the things we can do on a particular project? What are those things we can do? Like for that front page I said now, for the login details, we need to know if the user, let's say you're using an LMS platform, we need to get instructors to be able to log in. We need to get students to be able to log in, to be able to identify this, all the things we hope to do. That is what it should be in your product backlog. Now, when you have put it there, with the consideration of the capacity of the team I mentioned now, we only want to take in the correct amount of work we can do within the sprint into that sprint. So all the things we decide to pick and commit in that sprint, that this is what we want to work on within that sprint, we're going to be taking it out of the brutal backlog, and then we're going to commit it. Once we commit it and it's now on our board, that will be what will be sprint backlog. Are you guys with me? So your sprint backlog is the work you are doing within the sprint. Once the sprint starts, that you click on start sprint, for example, once the sprint starts, the work you are doing within that sprint is your sprint backlog. Then of course, your product increment is what you achieve at the end of the day. That's what you finish doing, what you can hold as a minimum viable product, like, oh, this is what we have done. This is what you're going to be showcasing during the sprint review. I'm not going to sprint review now, but I just want you guys to understand what artifacts are about, right? Now, after we have known our capacity and we know the amount of work we want to take into sprint, before we do that, we have to estimate. Estimation is a full topic. I won't go into it, but I just need us to have a glance of it and what story point is about. So before you can, there's a way you have to estimate the amount of effort you will be needing to do a particular job. And usually that estimation is usually linked with man hours or something, right? So a particular login page, how long will it take me to do it? It's going to take me 2 hours to do it, for example. So I'm going to sit down and think of how many story points I will allocate to that number of hours. Now, please don't get it wrong. Don't mix hours and story points and like that. Story points, the amount of effort is going to take me to do the job. Say, for example, I'm a newbie. I've never done it before, right? That thing that an expert will do in 2 hours, right? It can take me 4 hours to do the same thing. So I have to estimate based on the effort I'm going to take to do the job, right? And I'm going to consider the risk. I'm going to consider the dependencies. I'm going to consider all the things that are involved in that story for that story to be said, this has met the definition of done and ready. You know, you have to have all those things in your head to know that, okay, now I want to estimate this story with 2 story points. Now, what is estimation? It refers to the amount of effort used to complete a task or a product backlog, right? So it doesn't have to always be accurate because you learn as you go. So if I am doing this particular project now and I put 3 story points for login and I realize that, oh, I finished it earlier, you know, it wasn't so difficult. Next time I want to do any login story, I'm going to reduce it to 2 story points in it. So it's a learning field. Like I say, in Agile, we fail fast, we pick up ourselves and all, right? So story points are those numbers that help you estimate how difficult it is for you to develop that story as a user, right? Now, we have different estimation techniques. This meeting is not for us to know the estimation technique, but I have just 6 minutes. We can't go into sprint planning without knowing the estimation technique because we are going to be estimating into the sprint planning, right? So we have different types. We have t-shirt sizing, like, you know, for you to estimate what t-shirt size, small, super small, medium, large, all the time. It's a way of estimation. I'm not going to go into details. If you want to learn about it, you can just quickly read about it. We also have bucket theory, we have mode. But in Blue Sky, and in most organizations, not all, we usually use Fibonacci series, but you'll never see a picture of Fibonacci series, right? But I came up with one earlier. So, but Fibonacci series just goes as easy as 1, 2, 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8, 8 plus 5, 13, 13 plus 8, 21, like that, until it reaches heaven, right? That's what Fibonacci series is about. However, there's also a notation that any story that is already going above 13 story points and co, that means that story is too big. Why not slice it into smaller pieces and do the stories in chunks so that, you know, in smaller pieces rather, so that you can get value for your story easily, not put a big story that it will take you a whole sprint to do it. You will not be able to produce anything viable at the end of that sprint in it. So we do that. Now, why is estimation very important? It improves decision making. It helps us plan. It induces discipline. Like, okay, this is my focus. I have a mindset. It helps you organize, like self-organization. Don't worry, you'll be hearing this a lot as we go. Estimation helps you personally as a developer or a development team. It helps you estimate.
Very
It
true.
helps you with your productivity. Who is that? Please mute, kindly mute. Better sprint planning is, so it's, you should know that the more accurate your estimate is, the better chances of quality for your job, right? But like I said, nothing is cast on concrete. Now, that is estimation. Also, for a story, for you to be able to commit a story, you need to be able to prioritize the story. You know, I told you about your refinement and the PO telling you guys, this is what the business wants, business priorities, all those kind of things, right? Now, we have what we call Moscow prioritization. Moscow prioritization is must have, should have, could have, won't have, right? I know a lot of you know, some of you know about it. Has anybody heard about Moscow prioritization? You can unmute and say immediately.
Yes.
I have, but I haven't.
Yes.
So it's as easy as it is. Well, it's not, the Moscow comes from, I don't know if you can see my cursor. The Moscow comes from all the capital words here. Forget about the two O's, right? So the M is the must, S is should, C is could, and won't have. I like to start with the won't have. Ideally, when we all hear won't have, what does it mean? Oh, we're not going to do this sprint, right? Won't have does not really mean that you're not going to do that particular thing, but it's just that you're not going to do it right now because it's not a priority. So I will give a very typical example so that we can use it to understand prioritization, and I'll do that in a minute. I have an empty bedroom and you want me to touch that bedroom, right? There's nothing inside, there's no bed, nothing. And the first thing I go and bring is table lamp, and I need to sleep in that room that night. Is table lamp a should have, right? Or a must have, or a could have, right? It's a won't have for me. I'm just now trying to talk personally. I can have the table lamp in December. It's not my priority now. I have an empty room I need to bring to life. What am I chasing a bed lamp for when there's normal electricity in the room first? So for me, it's a won't have. I can have it in a future date. That's what won't have is about. A could have is a nice to have. That side lamp is a nice to have anyways, but I would rather have a could have to be a table in the room where I can read and work from home and everything. So I'll rather go for a table and chair for a could have. It should have for me in the room will be my curtains and everything, you know, have a very sophisticated curtain. That's it. Well, I should have it anyways. It's important, right? Because you need to cover yourself from people seeing you inside your room changing and all that. But you know, it's important, but it's not like it's necessary. If there's no curtain, would you die? Right? But it's a should have for me. Now, a must have for me in that bedroom will be a bed where I want to sleep. Forget about even frame. If frame comes, all well and good. But a bed and the bedsheet I'm going to sleep on is a must have for me. So it's same as prioritization for a business. A business tells you, we want this must within this sprint, you have to give it to them. This one should be a should. We have to give it to them, you know, like that. So if you finish all your must have within this sprint, you can go to your should haves, you can go to your could have and won't have. Is very important to note this. Like, for example, I know we're using Azure DevOps here, but on Jira, you have this prioritization, you know, shouting at your face. You have to prioritize, right? On Azure, you decide within your team. The PO is there to guide you, to tell you this is a must have, should have, everything, you know. So that's that. And thank you. That is just understanding what you are doing in sprint planning, right? We will now show you the practicality. Moji, I don't know if you, Moji, are you up to share your screen?
Yes, I can.
Please go ahead.
All right.
So I want us to work within time. That's why I'm stopping 8:30 on the dot. Then I'll show you guys how we are actually going to do a sprint planning as a team, right? So Bolu, you're going to join. Tosin, you can also join, please. So you see, we'll just show you a quick demo. It's not the outright demo or anything of how you should be able to express yourself and discuss within the team, you know, of how to do a sprint planning in the physical world. I could go on and speak to you, blah, 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 but if I don't show you, you won't understand. I only wanted to talk to you guys about the things you need as a team before you can start planning. Moji, do you want to share a screen?
Yeah, you have to stop sharing.
Yeah, I thought I did. Okay. Okay, so this is just showing us what an ideal board is. All this board configuration will be shown to you tomorrow, how to configure your board and everything. Are you guys with me? Keep your eyes sharp, don't worry. You will get to understand it, you will get used to it. Please do not feel overwhelmed by any chance. So, you see this column, the first column that has new. This is your product backlog. And all these stories here are your product backlog item. Do you want to open the logo story? The logo on the third logo here.
So here.
Okay,
Oh,
pick the
here.
one.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay. I just wanted to show them what a story looks like.
I don't think there's a story in that one. Let me pick the ones on the approved column.
Okay, pick one in the approved column. Okay, so you will get more details of what a story should, look like, but there are a lot of things that go on within the story. You have to put yourself as a user to be able to, I mentioned that earlier, to be able to talk about, how to view registration form, for example, So as a user, of probably Prep Major, for example, I think your project is on Prep Major. So as a user of Prep Major, I want to be able to view registration form so that I'm aware of all the required details, right? So what is acceptance criteria to you? Given that I navigate on the landing page, I want to be able to click on the register menu of the header so that I can have access to this register form, right? Then I should be able to view the form. You see that I've gone on and on, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to explain in a pictorial way of what I need to do on that website to be able to view this form. So I'm saying I have to navigate on the landing page, go to where I'll click on register menu, go to where I'll have access to that page. You get what I mean? So that's what a story looks like, right? But of course, with time, you'll be able to write a robust story that will, in fact, you'll be surprised at yourself. Just calm down. You'll be surprised at yourself when it's time to start writing story. This is for the BAs now. Now, when you want to start your sprint planning, like I said, the first thing you should do is capacity. Moji, go to the capacity. So for you to get to capacity, you click on your sprint, right? You click on your sprint. And when you click on your sprint, there are some icons exactly. The tax, backlog, capacity that will come up now. So you click on capacity. You know the number of days that if, for example, Moji, I'm going to be off for one day. Show them on Azure board that I'm going to be off on one day. Where do you think Moji will navigate to? She will just go into capacity per day and she will first go to days off, change it to I'll be one day off. Automatically, it will now take me to pick from maybe 10 to 11 or something because it's still within this first week. 10 or just 10, since I said only one day. And okay, put 11th, put 11th, put 11th. So, and say, okay. Or just indicate the number of days in the, oh, we've not started iteration. We've not started iteration.
We've not started, that's why. Yeah.
Okay, because we have not started iteration, we're not able to choose that, right? But close it, close it. Ideally, once you come here and put that I'll be one day off, automatically it will reduce, the number of days that I'm going to be working for this sprint, right? Now, please also note that I'm going to be the Scrum Master, so I don't need to be on this capacity board officially because I'm not working ideally on the tickets, right? I would just be there as a figurehead, kind of. So another person that probably would not need for us to know the person's capacity on this board. You will know the capacity on your Excel sheet, right? Where you have the capacity of the team. You can save it in your files in your teams for your team, right? Where you can note there that a BA or a Scrum Master is going out. But for the developers, you have to be on this board, because it is all what your activities are going to is going to affect all our metrics, is going to affect our test cases, everything. So it's always good for us to visibly know the people that are going to be developing. So the BAs, you're not going to put your own capacity per day. Scrum Masters, you're not going to, but you're going to put for the developers, right? And the QAs, that's the testers, because they are going to be working on those tickets. Now, the DAs are also going to be working on some tickets, so the DAs too can also be on your capacity, right? So for 7 working days, Bolu is going to be there for 5 days. Mr. Deji is going to be there for 5 days. Moji is already running from vacation. Me, I've run 2 days for vacation. And Pat, she's even totally on vacation during this whole first week of sprint. So that's why you're seeing 0 there. These things, it's always better to do it before sprint planning, so that you don't really waste time during sprint planning to do that. So you've already asked your team, look, I'm going to be using real life scenario. Let me be faster. I'm going to be using real life scenario. So for my team, for example, what I do is I already have the chat and I put it on our share portal, right? Our SharePoint. So they just go in, click on it, and I've done the sheet in a way that is automated. So on the days that they are going on vacation, all they need to put is 0 on that day, and automatically it calculates their percentage of the time they're going to be working. It calculates the percentage of the story points they are going to be putting in, per sprint, because I've already calculated the team's velocity to know, I don't want to confuse you guys, but let me just move on. That's capacity. Now, the next thing you do is the BAs and the developers and QAs. You remember that you already had a section for them on refinement before this sprint planning. So their stories are already refined. So you as a Scrum Master, what do you think you want to come into sprint planning to do? If they have refined their stories, they have estimated. In your head, what are you thinking? What are we now going to be doing in the sprint planning, right? So in that sprint planning, you are just going to, because anything can change between a couple of days to now, where you guys did the refinement. So business, one little priority can change. The company can say, oh, we don't want a blue background again. We want yellow. We want this, we want that. So all they need to do is just make little amendments here and there. Or even when you estimate something and you now slip over it and say, I said I was going to do this with 2 story points. I think it's going to take me a lot more effort than that. I want to change it to 3. So you as a Scrum Master, for example, you're just opening this. When they open the story to read it, you're just confirming from your team that, oh, is this story okay? Is this story suitable? Is this story, so you can go to stories, thank you. Is this story suitable for us to commit into sprint? Are you okay with your estimation? Are you okay with your prioritization? So they will just reconfirm for you. You say, yes, it's okay. Then we can now estimate officially and then commit the stories into sprint, right? So we're going to go one after the other. Bolu is the BA, so open the story, please. So this is me acting as a Scrum Master. Olawumi right now, I'm acting as a Scrum Master. Moji, pick up a role. QA, thank you. Bolu, pick up a role. BA, are you okay to be a BA, Bolu? Okay. Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. Tosin, are you able to pick up a role?
Developer.
Thank you. We need okay, you're already a QA. Okay, that's fine. I think we're good to go. I wanted to disturb DG, but no need. So I think we're good to go. So this is it, guys. Up until this point, do you guys have a round understanding? You can unmute. Do you have a round of understanding a little bit of what you want to do?
Yes.
Don't just say yes for the sake of it. Hope you have just a background knowledge that now you want to now decide within your team how the number of stories and everything you want to commit into sprint, right? So now we have opened the story. So I, as a Scrum Master, I'm starting. I am supposed to be sharing my screen, but please don't get it wrong. Anybody can share screen within the team. Anybody, because we are trying to produce a self-organizing team. We are trying to make everybody independent yet working together as a team. We are trying to ensure in the absence of Wumi, the team will not be on shutdown. In the absence of Moji, the team should be able to move on, right? So we have to be self-organized and work cross-functionally as a team for us to say we are an effective Scrum team. So that's the reason anybody can share screen, anybody. But I'm just saying, because I'm facilitating, just to make sure I know where I'm quickly clicking. Ideally, it's always probably right for the Scrum Master to do it, but it could be anybody, right? So right now, I'm taking it as it is. It's the QA that is sharing the screen, which is Moji. So Moji is sharing her screen, which is it. So you see, I'm not, but it doesn't stop me from facilitating and making sure my team gets to where they want to get to. So does the BA wants to read the story for us, please? Bolu. Okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
As a user, I want to fill the register form so that I am aware of all required
okay.
acceptance criteria, given that I have seen the last two.
Okay, hold on, Bolu. Hold on, Bolu. Moji, please help her read it. You are a bit wobbly because you are network issues or something, right? So let Moji read it so that it will be clearer.
Okay, view register form. As a user, I want to view the register form so that I am aware of all required details. Given that I navigate to the landing page, that's the acceptance criteria now. When I click on the register menu on the header and I access the register page, then I should be able to view the form.
Okay, thank you. So any comments, QAs, developers, any comment, please?
Would we be provided with the details on the form so that at least we're able to, Bolu, would you be providing us the details that we'll have on the form? I know we're just viewing it, but just for us to know what we're viewing, what we're seeing on the page.
Bolu.
Yeah.
We didn't hear what you said. You said yes, right? Okay, I guess she said she'll be providing it. I heard her say yes, but I wasn't too sure. Okay, so Bolu said she's going to be attaching a wireframe to the story. So she hadn't attached any wireframe as of now. So, and I think we need a wireframe for that story. Or what do you think, Tosin, will you be able to work on this story without the wireframe?
I think the wireframe would be a perfect one as a guide. Well, but without the wireframe, I think since you have said they should be providing a wireframe, then there is no point in me suggesting any form, default form for now. So I'll just wait for the wireframe to come up.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that. Moji, do you think we should commit this story for this sprint since all the details are not ready, the wireframe is not ready, and I'm not sure if there's a process map too? Or do you think we should go ahead? Since it's just
depending on when, Bolu, what's the timeline for you providing it? Are you able to provide it before we can, because really, in order to give the proper effort, I need to know how voluminous the wireframe is going to be. But really, it's a view form, so I wouldn't really be doing much. It's just for me to view the form. So I think it's good to go for us to commit it once she puts the wireframe in. I don't know what Tosin feels, but for me, I think it's good to go because it's just for me to view it, really.
okay. So if it's just view, it's okay by me. Tosin, do you concur?
Yeah, I would say yes, but no, without the wireframe, then I think she can just include the content of the form in here. So any design I come up with as a form, then can still be readjusted to our wireframe when she comes up with a wireframe of our own style. So basically, what we need is just to add the contents, what she's expecting, probably the first name, username, all those things that we expected, probably surname, email address, and all of that. So if we have it in addition here without a wireframe, then we can go on and do something.
Okay. So are we putting it in the parking lot? This is up to you guys.
For me, it does not make my definition of done, of ready, sorry. So it's not ready for me.
Okay. Moji?
Yeah, if the developer is if it has not met the developer's definition, then it's not, I can work on it if he's not working on it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. So let's go to the next story, please. Okay. Maybe I should read this one. So as a user, this story is on register, right? So as a user, I want to register on the website so that my details are secured. Acceptance criteria. Given that I am on the website, when I click on the register menu on the header and I navigate to the register page and I complete the register form and I click on the submit button, then I must be able to register on the website. Okay, so developer? Tosin?
Yes, I'm trying to go through it to give it a perfect understanding first.
Okay, take your time. Moji?
I think this is dependent on the other one, on the other story. So if we're not able to take the view register form in, I'm not sure if the developer will be able to work on this, but it's up to Justin, because he needs to come first in order for him to actually integrate this aspect of the feature on the website. Justin, what do you think?
Thank you for that. I think this is where prioritization comes in. So, and this one is actually dependent to the former. So if we don't have a form yet, then there's no how we can fill the form.
Okay, so it's almost as if some of our stories are not going to work out. Let's go to the next story. Let's see. Okay, let's pick the login story. So Moji, do you want to read this?
Okay, login description. As a user, I want to log in to my account so that I can view my profile. Acceptance criteria. Given that I navigate to the landing page, when I click on the login menu on the header and I access the login page and I input my username and password and I click on the login button, then I can access my account.
Okay, so for this third story and any updates, does it affect the first two?
Tosin, would we be able to create the work on the login without the registration?
Basically, I think what we can do is there are, since all these are different features coming from that we'll be developing, we should try to look at it in an independent way. Like the registration form, yeah, we could kick off with that, and also we can also kick off with the login separately. And probably when we start to do our integration, that's where we know that yes, they all have to work perfectly. So firstly, the registration, which is the starting point, actually is what we should look out for and find a way to deal with that one, or else we don't have a showstopper. That's for you, QA. You'll be unable to, if you're unable to register, then you'll be unable to log in. So,
definitely.
So I feel it's just best for us to find a way to deal with the showstopper, which is the registration.
Okay, thanks for this, Moji. So what we'll be doing next now is we're pausing this show. Moji, please, can you go to the estimation board with these three stories while I explain what has just gone on now?
Okay.
Thank you. So you can keep sharing, doesn't matter, or if you want to, but just go ahead, get your estimation board ready. Thank you. So guys, this is just an explanation of the conversation that goes on in a sprint planning. Whilst you are planning, there are questions, because in as much as you have refined your stories, there might be one or two things missing that has not met your DOR or your DOD. That's definition of done and definition of ready. Don't worry, we'll take you on what that really means. So it's ideal. Let me put it as simple as it is. If I cook a pot of soup and I tell my husband that, honey, your food is ready, it depends on what my husband sees as definition of ready. Me as the wife, in my head, your food is ready is that I finished cooking in it. That's my own definition of done now. Is my definition of ready rather. But to my husband, definition of ready, please, who is that? Can you mute? Please, can you mute? Please, can you mute, please? So on my husband's part of the story, his own definition of ready is that his food is on the dining table. I hope you get the gist. So definition of ready is when you know that this thing is ready and good to go. So at what point is something ready and good to go? So before we can take any story into the sprint, it has to meet invest criteria. Now, I don't want to go into much details. Has anybody heard of invest criteria before? Has anybody heard of it? Okay. Can you shoot your shot?
No.
Can you shoot your shot and tell us what it means?
Yeah, invest criteria, those things, the requirements a story have to have for it, for the people to work on it. I means independent, N means negotiable, that a story must be negotiable. Independent means it should not be dependent on another story or another factor for it to be worked on. And in V means valuable, it has to be valuable at the end of the day. There must be a viable product that is delivered at the end of the day. S means it's small, it should be small enough to be worked on a particular sprint. And T means timeable. It should be within a time box, if I'm not missing it.
It's actually testable, but well done and kudos.
Testable, yeah.
So well done, honestly. And you also missed E, which is estimable. The story has to be estimated.
I think I was rushing over it.
It's okay. Thank you so much. I'm happy that at least one person knows it. I want to believe a couple of other people might know it, but thanks for knowing, for being able to say that. Invest is just an acronym of independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. And she has told you guys the meaning. And while I was explaining some other things earlier, I've mentioned some things like, for example, small. When I said a story that is going above 13 story points, you need to slice it, making sure your stories are small. Testable. The story is something a QA can test and work on, both manually, and of course, some stories, automation and manual testing are done on both. QAs, don't worry, you get to that speed. The story must be valuable. You must be able to bring out something valuable at the end of the day, something valuable, we call it MBI, minimum business increment, or MVP. It depends, different slogans, right? So it must be negotiable. You must be able to, in fact, she has given it spot on what they all mean, but we'll get into better details. You can also read about it, because nobody spoons feeds anybody when it comes to Scrum. You have to go out there and also get information for yourself. But I want you guys to understand that if any of these stories don't meet invest criteria, we're not taking it into sprint, right? So not to deviate too much, we're just trying to say all the negotiations that went on between the QA, and the QA said he cannot develop it. Let me say it now in layman language. What the QA just said, I cannot develop it if I cannot see the wireframe. The wireframe is just like a skeleton of what he should be doing on the website. So that's what he has tried to say, that he cannot take it because it has not met his own definition of done and ready. Although he was trying to be a bit considerate and all, but ideally, please don't be too rigid, right? However, you need to make sure you do the right things when it comes to Scrum, right? So that story has not met definition of done already. So we are not committing it into sprint. So hopefully we have other stories to pick, but just for the sake of this, we are going to take those 3 stories into sprint and show you what it is about, right? Just for the sake of it. just for the sake of it. But please note that ideally, you can't take a story that is not, and please, it's not all stories too that probably need wireframe. Still don't get that wrong. But there are artifacts that the BAs use for them to write a story. So the first one is this description, which we all saw. The second one is the acceptance criteria. We also have the wireframe, which is the skeleton I mentioned. And we also have process map that shows the process and step-to-step of how that thing is going to be done. It can be on high level. It can just be, very much more detailed. You will get to know this as time is going by. But please keep your ears to the ground. Ensure you are taking this as much as you can. We are trying not to bombard you on the first day, but we need you to be able to get into this hands-on, hence the reason for all this preaching. So we're getting to the end of our time. However, we'll probably chop off a little bit of the next hour to be able to complete what we are going to do. So the next thing is for us to estimate. Now, there are two ways to do this, right? Or let me not say two ways, you can be flexible. For someone like me personally, I prefer to come here, open the stories inside the estimation board, and then we read the stories like we read earlier, and then we go and estimate straight away. But because we are unable to, that's one way, sorry, to do it. But the first one we did is finishing all the stories before we come into estimation, right? We finished reading 3 stories before we came into estimation to go and estimate it. But the way I see it personally, like I said, nothing is cast on stone. If we do it on estimation board, because we have taken our time to do refinement, right? So if we do this on estimation board, you're just coming, opening the story, we read it and everything. If it's good to go there and there, we estimate and we pick it and we go. Because reading all the 5-10 stories you have, you might not remember full details, but if you read it now, and you estimate immediately, you know exactly, the estimation and everything you want to do and let go. But really, whatever rocks your boat, right? So let's go. Moji, back into action. Bolu, Tosin, hope you guys are there. Do you want to open the story?
I don't know why it's not opening up.
Did you do query?
No, the query has been done already. That's why on the estimation board, all the stories are showing there. But they're supposed to open up here.
Or do you want to open a new estimation or something?
Pending estimates. Sure. Or let me run a new one.
Run a new one. Pending while we run a new one, I can still. So this is even a good time for you guys to see how to run a new one. Moji, you can speak and show them. So it will reduce your stress tomorrow.
So, all right, let me just close this. So to run a new estimation board, all you do is just to click on start your game here. And then you put the title there. So if you're doing your sprint 1, you put your sprint 1 there, and then maybe the name of your team so that it's not confusing since you're 2 teams. I'm just going to call this one TS, and then let me make this one sprint. It's going to be sprint 1 because there's another sprint 1 there. Let me just change this one to sprint 2. Okay, and then we're going to leave it online, not offline. And then when we come here, because the query has been done prior to this time, you will be taught how to run a query. So I'm just going to put the query there. And what the query is saying is what part of the board that we have are we picking the stories that we want to run from. So once I click on query here, I come to this query aspect of thing, and then I picked from the shared queries. All this, don't worry, you would be shown how to do it. So there has been a query that has been done for this particular team. And it's run a query for all the stories that are on the approved column. So that's why you're seeing TS approved PBIs. That's the title that has been given to all the stories that are on the approved column. And that's what we want to pick to say that the stories on that column is what we want to estimate on. And after picking that, you pick your card. So we've said card is what we want to pick. And then we come to where the cards are. You just click down on the card, and what the one we want to use is the Fibonacci one, is the technique that we want to use, the estimation technique that we want to use. We click on that. And then for the person that is creating the estimation, but which most time is the Scrum Master, you want to set some security in place. This one says only creator can change work items. Sorry, bear with me. Can change work items, reveal and commit votes. So you want to leave that disabled, because you want team members to be able to change their work items. Maybe they made a vote and they want to change on it, so you can leave that disabled. Only creator and admin of the assigned team or project can end. So you might want to enable this one so that you're the only one that can end the estimation session, so that a member that is voting does not do that, by mistake. So you might want to enable that. And then it says only creator can edit the game. So you might want to enable that also, so that you that created it, who is the Scrum Master, are the only one that can, edit the game. Okay, so once you've had all that done, you click on create. And then you can see that's the one we've just created. Okay, so just going to open it up. It's showing me the same thing. I hope this one opens up this time around. Okay, so yeah. So the new one, you can see once you create on the particular story. So I've clicked on the register story. So once I clicked on it, you can see this is what will display. So the link, you share the link with the team, your team members, and they are able, the people that are meant to estimate are just the developers and the testers. So they're able to join. So where you have my initial over here is everybody is joining. You start seeing their own initials also coming up there. And they're able to, because you've shared the link with them on your chat group, and they're able to join the meeting. And once they join the meeting, what Naomi was trying to explain earlier on is the story, as you can see, is here also. So all you need to do is they read the story again. Sorry, let me just click on that so that it brings it up. So they read the acceptance criteria is meant to come up also. Why is that not coming up? So the acceptance criteria.
Okay. So everything is supposed to come up actually.
Yes, everything is meant to come up here. So the acceptance criteria, just the description, the acceptance criteria will come up also to just remind, like Naomi said, remind the team about everything that they've done, and then everyone is able to vote. So this is what everybody sees on their own side, and then whatever they decide their effort is, they're able to pick on it. And then they'll vote. As you can see, as I'm hovering over it, is lifting up the cards. So if I click on any one of them, if I decide, oh, this story is going to take me an effort of 3, if I click on 3, it's going to put 3 here. So right now it's saying all votes, no votes, yes, and it's saying pending votes because I'm the only one on the board right now. That's why it's just my initials alone that you're seeing. If every other person are joined and their initials are here, you will be seeing their names here also. So that the moment they click on it and they vote, is able to show that also.
Okay.
Naomi, do you want me to vote?
Yes, please go ahead and vote.
Okay.
Thank you. Tosin is not able to enter that link, and
do you want me to share it with him?
You can go ahead and share with him in case he's able to now enter afterwards, but just the first link he wasn't able to enter, but go ahead. So but this is it, guys.
Yeah,
just once,
and as you can see, okay, let me go on, please. Yeah,
no, go. Okay, so no, I don't want you to miss the point you wanted to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the moment you vote, until everybody has voted, it won't show the number.
It won't reveal. Okay,
yeah,
no
it
problem.
won't reveal it.
So everybody's cards will be faced down. So you're not going to see the number of what she voted. The only reason that you're seeing that she clicked on 3 is because she's sharing her screen. Ideally, you won't know what she clicked on. So let's assume Bolu is a BA in this instance. So Bolu is not voting. the vote is between Moji and Tosin. So let's assume Tosin voted and clicked on, say, 5, for example, right? So another card will be here showing that Tosin voted 5. Now, what this does is it averages the votes. So by the time we click on review, it's going to be showing an average of 3 to 5. And coincidentally, the answer is 4, right? And there's no 4 when it comes to Fibonacci series, right? So it's going to give you 4. But as a team, you also now decide, do we want to nail on a higher or a lower figure? It depends on the weight of that story. So you guys also discuss as a team that we think this story is a small story, Jerry. Let's lean on 3. So that's why we're leaning on 3, because you're supposed to round it off to the nearest Fibonacci series, right? So it could have been 5, it could have been 3. Now you can now imagine 4, 5, 6 people, or even 10 people doing this vote, right? So the average can be, maybe somebody else picked 8, somebody else picked 3, and then by the time you average everything, let's say the average is 5.55555. There's no story, there's no discussion about that one, because the closest thing to 5.5 is 5. So we just go to 5 and put it as 5. No need of so much talk, because that is what is the average estimation from everybody. So if average estimation is 2.33 something, no story, just go to 2 JJ, because it is the nearest whole number on that Fibonacci series. It would have been different if it was 2.8 something, then you lean to 3, right? So just normal, regular, basic marks. That's what you need to do this. So, oh, thank you. Deji has voted. So now, as the Scrum Master, what I'm going to do is now to explain to everybody that, so as I will reconfirm rather that as everyone voted, and then I get a yes in it. So once I get a yes, so I'll review. Once I click on review, go ahead and review. Once I click on review, it shows us what they are dangerous, so Mr. DG. That story is too big for you to pick 21. So
because I don't know what the story about. I'm also new as well into the team, and that's the reason I said 21. So
okay,
basically I'm new into the field.
Thank you. So that's one of the things that you're going to do. The fact that you are seeing something very out of the ordinary from what other people voted, it should prompt you to ask questions. So in the real sense of it, what you're supposed to do as a Scrum Master is, who is Dio? Okay, Deji, hi Deji. So why did you vote 21? You know, and then he gives you this explanation, which makes sense. He doesn't even really know what it's about. He has never tried it before. So it's fine, right? So also, it can also be the other way around. So every other person picked 8, 5, somebody picks 1. You can ask the person too, well, why did you pick 1? Others seems to be more, on the edge of that. It might involve a lot of details. You have to have this conversation in your team for you to be able to get the required amount of explanation and understanding for you guys to move on and decide on an estimation on a particular ticket. And please, I should reemphasize, the only people voting are the developers, and the developers consist of the developers and the QAs, right? If DAs are going to be working on that particular story, then DAs will vote. Is that clear? So that's that on voting. You will do this on and on and on. In fact, from I think tomorrow or next, you're going to be doing, no, before the end of the week rather, you're going to be doing this. So when you do that, we have reviewed, and then there's an average vote. Mr. Deji has re-estimated. So now the average vote is 4.
Because right now you've explained it to me, and I think I'm not scared again, and I think it's okay. I can, it's okay. Yeah, I see. I'll go by. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So since he has re-estimated again, so we are just going to take this to the nearest value, and it seems people are leaning more towards 5 in this case. So I will come here as the Scrum Master and click the box and put 5, right? It could have been 3 anyways, but just considering that 2 people are edging towards that, we just click on 5, and then we save this vote. When we save the votes, please don't click on save. Before you save, I want you to see that there's no priority. I'm sorry, there's no effort there now. The effort is blank because she hasn't saved. But the moment she saves, she has saved. The moment she saves, go up on the view registration, you see 5. Can you see 5? Like, yeah, because she has saved it. No, come to the main stuff up. Hashtag 5 is already there. Oh, okay. No, this is 5. Have you saved, please? Can you go down and save? Okay, thank you. So you see that there's a 5 showing there. That means that we have estimated the story, and that story is now good to go. The second thing we need to do is prioritize it, which has been done because we have done that during refinement. So this priority is 2. Prioritization, if it was 1, in fact, we'll be running up and down, right? So, but this is 2. We're going to work on it because it is a must for this sprint in it. So we are prioritizing to 2, right? So prioritization, estimation has to be done on each ticket before we commit it into sprint. Let's do a second one, and this will be faster. We're not going to be talking too much. Please, can you open the next story, please? We're going to do this story within a minute, and you see how it goes. You don't have to spend the whole day trying to estimate. It will be rough when you first start on the first day, but please just calm down. Don't be afraid or anything. Just hit the nail on the head and you get it. You have mentors that will be there with you to guide you, on your first 1 or 2 times they're going to be voting. And I can assure you, you get the gist. So nobody should be weary this night that, what is all this that is going on? It's not as tedious or cumbersome as you're seeing it. So the next story, like we said, ideally your full story will be showing here. Don't worry when you're on the board, your full story will be showing here. So you just quickly read the story and then we'll go straight into estimation. Please, could you estimate, please? Developers, please, can you estimate, please? Are we waiting for the third person? Thank you. Okay, so are we all done with estimation, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Can you review that, please? So we've read the whole story and we've estimated, and our story average is 2.6. Ideally, can somebody just tell me what this value will be for this one? No need for preaching.
3.
Thank you.
3.
So you put 3 there. If it was something a bit ridiculous, I can start asking. And when I mean ridiculous does not have to be 21, like we earlier saw. Ridiculous at this point might be 8, or even, or you can imagine if everybody picked 2, 2, 2, and somebody picked 5. You should ask the person, oh, why 5, right? Person will just explain why the person is leaning towards 5. And the person might even need a bit of help to be able to do 1 or 2 things. That's why I said, before you start any project, make sure the people in that project have the technical know-how and skill to go about that project. So we put 3 and we save. Once we save, it shows on the ticket that we have picked 3 story points. Please, can you save that and then show us on the ticket that that has been done? Was any work changed in between? Okay, so thank you. Can you see the 3 is now reflecting because we have picked 3 story points on that story. Please open the third story. The third and the last story for tonight. That's all. Oh, okay. You know what? Let's just do the 4. Quickly, please. 30 seconds. Can we quickly estimate, please? So you see, as they're estimating, is concealing. We're waiting for Deji. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, has everyone finished estimating, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you review the votes, please? Okay, scroll down. Okay, so straight away, this is a no-brainer. Can you put 3, please? Save. Thank you. And the last story, please, quickly. And please, the way I'm saying and the last story, when you're doing it, you'll be mentioning it like for review registration form, please. It's not every second you're calling it story. You're calling the name of the ticket. You're calling the name of the story. You have to be professional at all times. Even if you feel is, a semi-professional, no, it is fully professional, please. You call the ticket the word it's supposed to be, right? We are taking this for the demo because we said the story is not complete, but we are taking it for the demo. So allow me, please. Can you vote, please? And after a while, I don't even need to be asking that, oh, has everybody voted? Because it's already telling me those pending, voting, and all that. So for now, all have voted. So I really do not need to ask the question, after a while. Maybe it's just for the first, second estimation, So go ahead and review, please. So we review. It gives us the average. 2.6 is a no-brainer. 3, and we save. Okay, I think I just want to ask Mr. Deji.
I can question that could not be 3 because
Why,
the
please,
reason being the fact that the previous one that we estimated as 3, which is forgot password, right? Is lower than this one. So based on my experience, this should be more than that 3, right? So that is why I have put 5.
Okay, thanks for your opinion on that. Moji, what do you think?
I picked the 2 because it's just a view. I'm not really doing any negative or positive testing. It's just to view the form.
Okay.
So that's why I've given it a 2.
And are you going to do both manual or automation or just manual test on it?
It will just be manual.
Okay, thank you. Tosin, you?
Oh, okay. I picked one because basically I've developed the form already. So what I just intend to do is just for make it clickable and to let him the page opens basically. So it's a minor effort I'll be putting in on this one.
Okay. So what do you guys want to lean on for this one, developers? Please agree amongst yourself. How many story points you want to put for this? Should we lean on the 3 or?
Yeah, we can pick the aggregate and just pick a 3.
Okay, no problem. Thanks for that. I hope you're okay with that too, JG. Hello. Okay, let me talk on his behalf. Okay,
sorry,
okay.
I got disconnected.
Okay, so Moji and Tosin are of the opinion that it's just a view alone, and for Moji, she's just going to be testing it manually, and Tosin said he can develop it in a snap of his finger. So hence the reason why they picked a very, little story points to cover that particular story. So I was just concurring with you that, and I've also asked them, they said it's okay for us to pick the average, which is 3. So I was just trying to concur with you that, is that okay by you too?
Yeah, okay. I'm okay to go with the team if that's okay then. Yeah.
Okay, sounds great by me. Moji, please go ahead. Thank you. Thank you all for your time this night to, sit back, read the stories and estimate. Thank you so much, team. Hopefully we will go and look at the stories now and commit them. But thank you so much for your time. I'm not saying you should log off, please. Please, can you go back to the board, please? So guys, pause on my on my mini drama. Now we're going back to the board officially, guys. Now I'm talking to the esteemed interns now. So we are finished estimation. Can you see how seamless it is? Don't worry, on your first day of doing it, it will look like jazz or something. But trust me, after a while, you get the hang of it, right? So that aside, when you finish the estimation, who can tell me the steps we have taken tonight? Somebody should wow me. When we started the estimation, what was the first thing we did? What was the second thing? And what was the third thing that we did? Anybody, just on mute, quickly. I want to know those that are taking notes. Let's hurry up. 30 seconds. Can anybody tell me what we've done this night?
We created a story.
Okay, thank you for that. What else? When we started this estimation, let me juggle your brain. When we started the estimation, what was the first thing I said we should check as a team?
The team capacity. The board.
Thank you. No, the team capacity. The team capacity. Thank you for that too. But we were supposed to check the capacity that, okay, the number of people going into this sprint so that we are aware, right? So when we opened, right? We already have done refinement. Now we're in sprint planning. I'm trying not to make us mix this. We're in sprint planning, so those stories are ready, right? So what did we do next after the capacity? What did we do next?
We prioritize our backlog items.
Kind of, yeah. Let me just help with that part. We read the stories, right? We read the stories and we had a lot of, back and forth. The developer was saying he can't work without the wireframe. The QA was like, oh, maybe we can go ahead because it's just a simple thing. It doesn't really need any special skeleton for us to see what to do. But, the developer was still leaning on the opinion that the stories are connected and all that, those are the activities you do within then to just reconfirm what you have refined earlier, right? So after that, we now went into our estimation. But note that I said earlier that usually it's always better. Always better doesn't mean you have to do it like that. It's always better. You are opening your estimation board, reading the stories and estimating immediately. So because you can't cram, the level of estimation you want to estimate for review, the one you want to estimate for login detail, the one you want to estimate. But if you open the estimation board and you're reading it and you're estimating immediately, you're reading, you're estimating immediately, it keeps you on your toe. So the third thing we did for tonight was the estimation. So we have estimated now and we're good to go. We've decided that we are taking these 4 stories into sprint. Remember the first set of things that we had was our product backlog, which I mentioned, during the explanation at the beginning, the things we think we can do. So from the things we think we can do, we picked only 4 things. There are a lot of stories there on our product backlog, but we picked only 4 things. And those 4 things has been approved by the PO. You will see these steps when Moji takes up with the setup tomorrow. So those things that were approved by the PO are what we worked on and estimated this sprint. And we have been able to take 4 things. So those 4 items now on this board, we are going to commit them into sprint. Because if you do not commit into sprint, then you have not started sprint, right? So once you commit into sprint, those product backlog items, they become what? Somebody should wow me. I'm going to give you McDonald's. The moment we finish the product backlog, what's the next thing those things turn to?
Sprint backlog.
I'm done tonight. People are finished.
Please send my McDonald's. Send my McDonald's.
What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
Me as well. I said sprint backlog. We are not starting to work.
Okay, don't worry. I'll get to know all of you. And we'll see how we share the McDonald's because it's only one mouth of McDonald's. Maybe we'll have one bite. I don't know. So thank you all. I can see you guys are following. So the moment we move them to committed, those items become sprint backlog items, right? So we just call it sprint backlog. Let me not put item too much at the back, right? So they become sprint backlog. So Moji, please show us. You see, she just drags it there. It automatically goes to committed. At this point, hold on, Moji. Hold on. I want them to see something. So you see, can you see the 3rd column here saying approved? You will learn it when Moji is doing the setup, but I just need us to see this. You can see the board column showing approved. Show us, put your cursor on it so that you'll see it. Board column showing approved. Then come down a bit. On the 3rd line, they approved on the 3rd line. That is also approved. That's the state. If I stay on the state, it's fine. So you see, it's approved here, but the moment she took it into sprint, it changed to what? The state changed to what? Committed. Because we have committed it into sprint, right? So always note that if your stuff does not show committed, you're not doing the right thing. Your board is not properly set up. Those are the type of things you use to check your board to make sure your board is properly in place. So can you finish moving all the stories? So you see it's approved. The moment she's moving it, it's changing to committed. So she can also, that's another way. Instead of dragging, you just click the drop down, change the states, it flies to committed straight away, right? So she doesn't need to drag it in that sense. So our 4 stories have been moved to committed. So officially, kind of, we have started sprint. But ideally, if your board was ready, everything, the dates and all that, let me not jump the gun and focus on sprint planning. Moji will take us through all this tomorrow for you to understand the state of your board and all, what really says that you have started sprints. So for you to be in this iteration, no, let me not yet use the word iteration. You hear iteration tomorrow. For you to be in this sprint that it is, we have entered committed. So officially, sprint 0 has started for, or sprint 1 has started for this my team that consists of, thank you, Bolu, thank you, Tosin, thank you, Moji, and thank you, Deji. So we have started sprint officially. Now, the next thing to be done, right? The next thing to be done, who is the first person that will work here is already showing here, because somebody has to develop something, then before somebody tests it, before somebody reviews it, before we say it's finally done. This is all things being equal. We won't go into that today. This is just for us to have an idea of what it is. So officially, we should be done with our sprint planning in it, but we are not done. Because during our being committed, we decided some things we want to do for this sprint, which is what we have committed. Then we'll now go into our sprint goal and decide that this is our focus for this sprint. So can we quickly cram one or two things? View, register, okay. So go into our sprint goal. So in the sprint goal now, you will now ask the team, what do you think our goal is for this sprint? What is our goal for this sprint? So you also go into sprint and click on goals this time around. So there, we will now add what our goal is for this sprint to, will you just type anything to develop all those things? To develop, okay. Details. Login details. Oh, okay, just leave it as login. It's fine. So the team will sit down and agree on what their goal is. It's as simple as this, right? Now, also note that it can have more than one goal. You can have more than one goal for your sprint. It depends on the number of things you're committing, but you cannot have the goal before you have committed. So you have seen all what you want to commit, right? Now you now focus on that goal, that, okay, these things that we're committing for this sprint, this is our goal. So all our login features and everything is what we want to concentrate on this goal. Now, if you leave it like this, if you don't save it, you're on your own. So you need to toggle that it should show on your toggle that it should show on your tab, and also well, once it's achieved, you will come back and toggle the goal achieved, but ensure you save this. Once you save this, it's automatically, you see it now, you see it to appear on your screen. Go back. So it will show us. Has it saved? Okay. So you see now on this our sprint board, you see where to show us to develop, blah, 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 blah. Let it come up. So at this point, can you see our goal now to develop, register, and login features? So at this point now, you know that officially, right, your sprint planning is over. You see that it's not ideal. It's because we are teaching. If we're not teaching, or sorry, trying to show you rather, we won't even take this long. But on your first day, I know you guys can sleep there for 3 hours. I don't know how you want to do it. So I'm just giving you a heads up. But you can be smart about it and do it in just a couple of 1 hour or something, and get it over with. But by the time you can't keep repeating it, you get better at it. So at this point, you're done. So as an SM, what you need to do is officially dismiss your team. Thank you for joining, blah, 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 blah. But you SMs, you will wait behind, right? In the real world, you're the only SM. So you are going to wait behind and sit down and configure any other thing you want to configure. For example, your dashboard and all those things. But in the real sense of it, this is now me advising you, those things can be done pre the sprint planning. Set up everything, make sure everything is running, set up your iteration, everything. So as you are committing and as you are putting your sprint goal, you are good to go, right? So ideally, that's the end of our sprint planning. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Moji, do you want to just add any comments? Is there anything you want to add?
No, you did great. Well done, Laomi. Thank you.
Okay, so guys, hope you guys understood at least to the barest minimum. I don't want to use maximum now, of what a sprint planning looks like, right? I know you cannot have a full grasp of it now. This is just a show of what goes on in the sprint planning. If you remember at the beginning, the conversation, the back and forth and all that between the developers and the QA and the BA, in all this, please make sure you maintain professionalism. Sometimes there can be heated arguments here and here. Please don't let that happen to you. You sit down, take it in, you're professionals. Make sure you have a good conversation with your team. And you have to listen to somebody for you to even be understood, and vice versa. So when somebody is talking, don't worry, you'll get to learn about the goals, the values in Scrum, and one of it is respect, right? So you have to respect each other. Everybody's opinion is good, right? For you to be an adult to this stage, there's something in your head for you to be able to, so everybody's opinion is valuable, all those kind of things. Maintain respect, have a proper discussion, make sure every meeting you step into, you get out something valuable from it. And that something valuable is what the team can see that, oh, this is valuable, right? So make sure your sprint planning, you achieve what you need to achieve, which is you committing your stories and starting, right? Once that story is committed, the next thing is the developer picks it up and all that, which I explained earlier. We will not go into details now. So that's it for sprint planning. Any questions, please? Any questions, please? And those of you that had questions from Moji's presentation, that the question was for Mr. Deji, you can re-ask those questions now. But now you're not going to unmute to do that. You raise up your hands and you'll be called to do that. Please raise up your hands. Thank you. Okay, so we'll start with Kingsley. Kingsley, do you want to unmute?
Thank you. I would say that was a very, very wonderful explanation. I enjoyed every bit of it. But however, why are BAs not involved in the voting?
Okay, so it's a way of saying a maker checker something. Now, a BA works pre the sprint. A BA's job is to write those stories before the sprint starts. The BA is not going to be working in that sprint, right? The BA is not going to be doing any development work. The BA is not going to be doing any testing. The BA wrote those stories for the QAs and the developers to work on. So the people that are working within the sprint, which are the developers, are the ones that are going to be estimating. So the amount of effort it will take the developer to develop that registration form is what that person is estimating. And on the part of the QA, when that developer is done, the QA picks up that story. The QA is checking manually and using automation to check that, oh, is this in place? And please, not all stories use manual and automation. I'm just giving it as an example. So to check that, oh, the developer developed this thing very well. I'm using all the best layman languages I can use for you guys so you understand it. So those are the people working within the sprint. Now, the DA2 can also pick something up and probably want to do a data for it and all that. He also can probably estimate, you understand? But the BA is not working in that sprint. All the BA's job ends on that day of the sprint planning, right? The next day, the BA starts the journey again of preparing for those stories we are going to use for refinement and the next sprint planning. So please don't get me wrong, the BA is always busy. They are always eliciting requirements, writing the stories, doing the wireframe, doing their process map. They'll do acceptance criteria. They'll do the description of the story, all those things. So the BA is doing that, but they are not doing that within that sprint. The moment we've committed like this, the BAs are working ahead of the next sprint. The only thing the BA can do for this sprint is maybe in between something comes up with those old stories and they want to make just a quick tweak. Maybe the tweak is relating to, maybe the developer just comes up, sometimes it's not everything you see during this sprint planning. So the developer just comes up and says, oh, is this thing clickable or something? Or priorities change. PO just comes and they say we should make it clickable. So the BA can just quickly write a story for that or amend the previous story and say, okay, this is clickable and all that. So that's when the BA comes in that sprint. But the BA is not doing any hands-on work or creating any special ticket or anything to work on that particular story. Is that clear?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next person, Daniel. You can put down your hands, Kingsley. Thank you for your question. Daniel.
Thank you, Tosin. I'm hoping I'm not...
Okay, I'm so sorry. My name is Olawumi. Tosin is your developer.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Yes. I hope I'm not being too forward. So I missed.
No, please go ahead.
I missed a large chunk of the presentation. I met the very tail end, and it was. I mean, I can't imagine what I've missed. So I wanted to check, like, how soon can this recording be made available? So
the
that
recording is already available. Oh, I'm so sorry. Finish talking.
oh yeah. I mean, so that I can spend some time and go over this before tomorrow, just to be sure that I've not missed much.
Okay. So sorry. Daniel, you see this recording is done live. If you go to our YouTube channel now, or even just click on that recording up, it will take you live there to where it is being recorded. You get?
Thank you so much. I'll go to YouTube.
So just go to our YouTube channel. When you get to our YouTube channel, look for this recording.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you. You won't miss it. We'll put it straight away. It's on YouTube as it's. Jacob, sorry, I was a bit distracted. Jacob, hi.
Yeah, hello.
You can put down your hands, Daniel.
So I understand you're using, I don't know what, Azure board or something like that.
Azure DevOps.
DevOps, okay. So say you're using the Jira board.
Yes.
So maybe for the purpose of this training, that is what you're going to use, or you're still going to use the Jira board?
Okay. For the purpose of this training, we'll be using Azure DevOps.
Okay.
Towards the end of this training, we'll give you a feel of what Jira is about, right?
Okay.
But trust me, these things are just tools of working. They are not actually the work you're doing, right? They are tools to do the work you're doing. So you must have the normal technical skills to do what you need to do. This is just a tool. Whether it's Azure DevOps, whether it's Jira, the only difference is the tool. So the same way you are moving from here to committed to this, to this, to this, you also have it kind of on Jira, but Jira has another way of kind of doing it that we just need to point you to it, and you just know that, okay, for Jira, all you need to do is those same stories. You just click on activate sprint. When you have put all the stories you want in the sprint you are about to start, all you need to do is start sprint. Once you click on start sprint, it will tell you from what duration to what duration you put that and all that, and it's good to go. It's as simple on Jira. We'll show you to have a feel of what Jira is about. But for this diet, we're using Azure DevOps. Thank you.
Cool.
Hi, Salome.
Hi, please. My question is, which of the people that updates the sprint backlog, is it the BA or the Scrum Masters?
The sprint backlog is the team that is putting, or is it the product you're trying to ask? The sprint backlog are the stories that we are committing into sprint. Those stories that we committed, that's the sprint backlog. But the ones that were sitting there before we did the estimation is the product backlog. They're usually on the very first new column before we now pick them into approved state. Don't worry, you get to understand it as it goes. But from the approved state, the moment you put it into committed, it becomes sprint backlog. So do you want to rephrase your question again?
Like which person, is it the Scrum Master or the BA
that's what
that updates it?
That moves it to that column that's okay. Now,
commits it.
Okay, now it's the team that commits it. However, whoever is sharing screen at that time can do the moving, but in the real sense of it, because we are facilitating, the Scrum Master does that moving it to committed. But today, my QA was the one sharing screen, Moji, and she moved it to committed. But this is in agreement of the team. The team were all watching her as she was doing it. So it's virtually the team doing this thing. Ideally, in some organization, the Scrum Master does not really have much on that board moving tickets, right? So yes, because it's the people that are working on it that will be picking it. But for up to this committed stage, the Scrum Master can move from approved to committed and all. But the moment it's uncommitted, then the team start speaking it themselves and all that. The Scrum Master can only help once in a while in case of something. Say, for example, we are doing a daily stand-up and you remind somebody that, oh, you said you were going to work on so-so thing yesterday. Were you able to do it? Because it's still seated on so-so column. And the person says, yes, I was able to do it, but I forgot to move it. You can ask the person there and there, oh, should I help you move it? Or will you do it at your time? Most likely, some of them will tell you that, oh, don't worry, I'll do it at my time. Maybe for them to review and be sure that it's completely done. So you let them be. There's no force. But if the person says, oh, I'm happy for you to do that, you just move it for the person, right? There and there, the whole team can see the visibility that this person is the one that says you should move that ticket, right? So ideally, it's your team that they are moving these tickets and everything. You can move to committed. There's no one-way street. You can ask somebody else, they'll tell you, oh, he's the Scrum Master. You can ask somebody else, but in my own opinion, there's no one-way street about these things. Yeah, but because you're facilitating as a Scrum Master, you move it to committed, then your team start working from there. But the first set of stories in that product backlog is all for the BAs to enjoy themselves. Of course, with the able-bodied backing of the PO, making sure that they get the right stories and requirements for that particular sprint. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Namaste. Chinyere.
Yeah, thank you very much. I noticed throughout this night that PO's role has been so silent.
Okay, we're so sorry about that. I should have gotten a PO into this story, but the PO has done the refinement part and all that. So most times, see, it depends. You see, during refinement, the PO is very active because it's the PO show. Now, also between the BAs and the POs, while eliciting and doing other things, which you're going to learn tomorrow as a BA, there's also a lot of activity from the PO. Now, within this space now, if you missed anything regarding the PO, right, it is only if something comes up and there's a change that needs to go on, or something just comes up and the BA is like, oh, sorry, so has been changed. Please, can we change that? That's when the PO really comes in. But the PO is not outrightly active during the sprint planning. More, the PO is invited. You will be there. If you have things to say, you can't go ahead and raise up your hand and speak. But it's not really the PO show because all this has been done during refinement. Ideally, for some teams that are very active, all these questions of there's no wireframe and all that, they would have discussed it in their refinement. But because we didn't do a proper refinement before this, if we're doing our full demo, starting from refinement into sprint planning and everything, then you see us that will do all this rigmarole during refinement, right?
Okay.
So
okay, situation whereby in a team, it's also possible there won't be a PA in a team.
Thank you for saying that. So there are some teams that there are no BAs. Reason being that probably the PO does not have, the PO can handle both sides, right?
Okay.
So the PO will be the one to do all the same things, ideally. And I told you there's no rocket science. There are some teams that is even the developers that write their stories themselves. That's rare, right? But some IT teams, the PO does the story. Now, if the PO has so much work to do, then usually they recruit a BA to join them. So the BA now does all this story side. You can even get to an organization and not even write story for your whole length of time as a BA. Nothing is cast on stone. We are just giving you what a typical world looks like, right?
Okay.
But nothing is cast on stone. It depends on your organization. Have you gone to some organization that they don't even know what a BA is? And if you go to some, they even say, what is a PO? So it depends on the organization. And some organizations, they have everything. In fact, your ears will be deaf. You can't keep up with the names. There's also designer, there's a B, there's a PO, there's a this person, there's a that. So you'll be confused. So no rocket science about it.
Okay, thank you very much.
That clear, thank you.
Yeah.
You can put your hands down, Chinyere. Hi, author.
Hi, quick question, all right? So when you're estimating the stories, just to double check, it's only the person working on that particular story or the tester that does that planning poker.
Okay.
Is only the person working on that particular story and not the entire team.
Okay, thank you. Is that the question? Are you done?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll still lean on every team is spectacular in the real world. But here in Blue Sky, we want everybody to estimate so that you can, that's when we mean everybody, all the developers. That's plus whether you're writing the story, whether you're working on the story, whether you're not working on the story, because you don't even know the one you're going to work on yet. You've not split the stories now. There are 4 stories there, right? We've not even known the one author is going to work on, let alone the one Delphine is going to work on, let alone the one Chinere will work on. We don't know yet. So we are just estimating that story as a team so that we can get the actual, supposed effort we used to work. Now, in the real world, the person doing the story, if the story has been assigned already, you already picked your stories and done, can be the one to do that estimation straight away.
Okay.
There's no one way about it. But for Blue Sky, you all are going to be estimating. In fact, for the first day, sometimes it depends on your mentor. Your mentor can even say, okay, even the BOSM, all of you, just estimate, just so you see how it is. You two can be there, and when they're talking about it in the real world, you know what they're talking about. So it won't be as if, oh, you've never done it before, you're only seeing the theory. So you can even do on that first day, but subsequently, just make sure it's just the development team, that's the developers and the QAs that are doing that particular estimation. Mr. Deji, do you want to by chance add anything to that, this particular estimation question, if you're listening, or Moji?
Hello, yeah.
Okay.
I think you are totally right, actually. So, because when people talk about these things, they are theoretical and practical one, actually. In theory, right, the story is not yet assigned to anyone, so the team will estimate, everybody will estimate. I work in a place whereby they assign it even at the refinement. So you know what you are going to get even before the sprint planning starts anyway. So the only that particular developer or QA will now work on that. But to be honest, the best approach is that everybody would kind of estimate, right? Rather than only one person. Because even if I estimated because it's been assigned to me, what happens if, I'm not around? You get now, I didn't pick the story up. So another person will have to pick it up anyway. So
Thank you.
That's why it's better for the whole team to estimate it. Like you said, it's not the role of a BA to estimate anyway. It's only the developers that would estimate the story. And as Blue Sky, I don't mind if the BA wants to estimate, but one thing that is so important is like you don't go out and say BA estimate stories. You get now, So that's why we don't want to confuse anyone. We do what is done in the market so that you're able to go out and say what you do here actually, and say, oh, I'm in a team as a BA and developers estimate, and this is what. But of course, you need to know how estimation is done as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So, author, is that very clear?
Yeah, just following up on that one. So let's say you're working on the login feature for instance, and the dev guy is going to take, let's say it says it's 3 story points for him to do what he needs to do. And the tester is going to say 2 story points to test it. So you get the average for that between both of them, and that's your estimate.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All
So
right.
we're getting the average, Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the average might not lead to what you are getting anyway. Because for instance, if you add, let's say 3, I'm trying to put some figures together. Let's say the average does not give you Fibonacci series. If that's what you need to look into that, isn't it? Because sometimes if you not do 3, 3, and 2, 2, and it gives you 4, right? So 4 is not Fibonacci series. It's not within the. It has to be average that will give you a Fibonacci series. So, but in some cases, some team, this is what you're going to do. There's a session for team charter, right? I think is happening this week, right? So you're going to look at, in your team charter, you look at how you're going to make agreements, how you're going to agree on stories. What are we going to use to agree on stories? Some team will use a concession to say that we have to agree on a concession. If everybody's apart, you try again as many times as possible until you have a concession. Or like what we do today, right? When we kind of agree verbally to say, oh, okay, let's go with 3, right? And that is what, in some team, they will just blindly go with the highest one, right? Because they know that it's safer, right?
Yes.
So that's another thing, yeah. So that is one. For some team, they would now say, okay, let's do the average, and then you would decide, yeah, you will not take the next Fibonacci series next to the average. When Wumi was doing this, I think when Moji was doing this, I think she showed the Fibonacci series. If you don't know what that is, just Google Fibonacci series. Your number that you take has to be within Fibonacci series. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I also explained that too, actually, during the estimation, that they can't pick 4 because it is not a Fibonacci series. So they have to lean towards either 3 or 5 for that particular story, depending on what the team agrees for that particular one. But however, the one that is maybe 2.6, you know, it's already getting towards 3, so you need to pick 3. There's no need preaching too much. And if it was probably 2.333, you just pick 2. But if it's a number like 4 or something, then you lean towards the next front or back Fibonacci series in that sequence too. So yeah, I've already explained that much earlier. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Deji. Sorry, Deji. Thank you, Uto. Is that okay, Uto? We
Yeah, that's
have
fine.
just
Thank you.
9 minutes to the end of today's section. So let's pick up the pace. Hi, Delphine.
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation.
You're
My
welcome.
question is, what will you say is the best practice for user story writing? As a Scrum Master, is it more advantageous for you to coach the entire team members how to write a standard user story using the Moscow technique or invest criteria, or should you depend that the entire team depend on the BA or PO writing these user stories?
Okay, so Moji will answer this question, right? Just so you have a feel of another. But I want to first make you understand that that BA in your team is supposedly an expert in the field. Do you want to be teaching an expert what to do?
No.
Please do not rule out that these people are all experts in their field. And it's very offensive if you think that they don't know. Now, not taking out coaching out of your team. The things you're coaching your team towards, you're coaching them in best practices, agile ways of working. You're not going to coach me, a developer, on how to develop my thing. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
It's not your, so you as a Scrum Master, ideally, it's not really your field. You knowing it is just a plus for you, so that when you're having a conversation with your BA, you have the right conversation if you know what a BA is doing. That's why, in case any night or anything that you're not busy, you can jump into a BA's call or a QA's call and just listen to what they are doing. So you have a feel and have a healthy conversation with them. But you are not going to be coaching the BA. That's BA, oh yeah, this is how we want to, except they are not doing it right entirely. Then you know that you have picked a team that does not have the technical skill, because you know it, right? But you picking, your team ideally should already have the technical know-how of how to do these things. So please don't get that wrong. When you are coaching your team, when we say coach your team, we're not saying, so for example, you have engineers in your team that are writing some geometries and some symmetry and some everything. You want to sit down and start coaching them how to do that one. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm just putting it that way so that you understand. So BA now, I want to teach a BA how to do Gherkin sit down. The only thing that can happen is if the BA is not writing the story properly, in the sense of maybe they did not put it in the thinking as a user, like, or they did not use Gherkin syntax to explain their acceptance criteria or something, then you can probably just have a little one-on-one section with the BAs and say, oh, is he, or find out how they do it in that organization and see how you can make a change. That, there are other ways of, then you can chip it in. Please don't go there with full regalia as if you want to teach them how to work. You understand? The reason I'm saying this is they'll flog you. You are teaching them their technical know-how. Do you get? So that's the best way I can answer this question, right? But please do not rule out that you can point out if you now have a good understanding. That's why you should come here and be all-rounded. If you have a good understanding, like, okay, let me give a personal experience on this in 30 seconds. My team, they always don't put that as a in the this, they don't put that. Number one, it's good because Jira already has it, right? I configured it already, so that's fine. But when it comes to the description of giving when then, they don't send you. They are just explaining what they want to do. So the people I can see that are fully experts and really know these things, I leave them be because there's no one format on that. But there are some people that they just are lazy to even put anything. Then I told them about the Gherkin syntax, and then I explained a bit of, that, okay, you put yourself in the position of the user. It comes with this, just the same way we have the one on the, story and all that. And the guys were like, oh, okay, oh, sounds good, and they started putting it. So this is how you can chip in, but not sit down to take them a full day's course on it. I'm not really comfortable with that. Moji, do you want to explain in like 10 seconds? Or I said 10 seconds, 30 seconds.
Okay, yes. So allow me, you've already said it. So when you coach as a Scrum Master, what you're coaching is the Scrum process, Agile process. That's what you're coaching your team. Like Laomi said, you won't coach them their expert knowledge, because by the time they are being employed already, the person that is employing them, the hiring manager or HR that is employing them, they've checked to know that this person has the skill. Okay, so peradventure, like Laomi said again, you notice that, okay, this person doesn't really have the skill to do this thing and all that. Yeah, if even in calling the person, having a one-to-one at times, they can take offense. Do you understand? If you feel, okay, so this person doesn't have this knowledge and everything, the best way to help them, you need to analyze your team members. What makes this person tick? Is it the same person? Is it a person that I can give advice to, and they would take it as a positive, positive, they'll take it on the positive side and they're ready to go. If it's that kind of person, they have their own community. They will have in the organization, they'll have their own BA community. They'll have their own line manager for the BAs. Do you understand? Who could put a training in place for them? So that's the expertise, like Ulaomi is saying, for their own. But the coaching you do as a Scrum Master, you're coaching concerning Agile. You're looking at your team and you feel that they're still not skilled enough. They can't self-manage enough. In the process of Scrum, that is the one you run a coaching session for, not how a BA writes a story. Like Laomi said, they'll take offense, really.
Thank you so much. Well understood.
So much, Moji. Okay. Deji, you want to say something, please? You have a minute to say something, but we can't hear you anymore. You seem to be muted. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So another, to be honest, yeah. Okay, how about now? Yeah, and I know some, so, but if you identify some gaps, you can actually maybe escalate it. That's one. One way to also do this is to have a skill matrix, right? So that's a subtle way to say, okay, can you put this in your skills so that we tell them the reason why you are doing so. In case someone is not around, we know who's got this particular skills. We can upskill, we can train other people, and so the team will put their skills and they will rate themselves. So you can know when the person says, I don't know about Gherkin. Do you get now? You already flashed that out. Then you can say, okay, this person is not Gherkin. Then you can say, okay, can you teach this person about Gherkin? Do you get that? Or it doesn't know what Moscow is. It doesn't yet. So other person said, oh, I know about it. Then you already know what your team know, right? You have that information. Then what you do with that information is not left for you as a Scrum Master to actually know where you can upscale or where they can solve for help is very, very important. But that's another way. But I totally agree with Moji and Olaomi. You can't go there and say, oh, expert is there, let me start teaching your job when it's not Agile practice. Your role basically as a coach will be on the Agile value practices and basically Agile and Scrum anyway, yeah.
Thank you so much. That's from the boss himself. Really, guys, just you have to be very mindful and professional at all times. Always have a rethink before you do things, right? And it doesn't mean you should shy away from doing what you're supposed to do, but just always have a rethink, think about it very well before you proceed in doing things like that. Thank you so much for that. So Onome, now hold on, Onome. So officially, I'm a Scrum Master, right? So officially, the meeting ends now. This is 10 o'clock. The meeting ends now officially because as a Scrum Master, I cannot exceed time. However, let's just finish the question and answer, and then, but it's no more on me. I finished too. So I'm removing myself. All right. Onome, go ahead.
Okay. Wumi, sorry, we take this as a parking lot, right? Like you guys always
This
say,
is parking lot, exactly. So officially,
okay.
I've removed my hand. We're done. Now this is parking lot. So let's keep discussing. Onome, go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's just a simple question. As a Scrum Master that intend working with a new team, is it possible for the team to make a rough estimation before the sprint planning?
Yes, actually. Is that your question?
Yes, it's a question.
Okay. Yeah, no. I want to know if you had finished. I told you it's always good for people to finish before we interject. So yeah, so ideally, in the real sense of it, everywhere, both here and everywhere, when you do refinement, right, you already have a rough estimation of that story. If it was even in Jira, you can put your estimation self immediately there and there. You can put it, you and your PO, you agree there and there as you're doing the refinement, you put it. Then when we come to sprint planning, we are now having that conversation that, okay, are we okay with this estimation and all that? Because you have selected your story, like Mr. Deji said earlier, you now know the story you are working on, right? But if we have not agreed as a team that Onome is working on this story, Vivian is working on that story, Daniel is working on this story, we have not agreed as a team, then we can just do a rough estimation together too as a team during the refinement, and then come to sprint planning and confirm that we still stand by that estimation, right? So it's not cast on stone, but refinement is always good to have that rough estimation. So you're already knowing whether this story is viable or are we slicing the story. If you have that rough estimation during refinement and you guys see that the story point is up to 21 story points, there and there you start breaking the stories during refinement. Do you want to start breaking the story during sprint planning? That will be cumbersome and take up the whole time for the team. So it's during that refinement that we are doing that slicing that I spoke about earlier. We are breaking it into pieces. Oh, this is 21 story points. Let's do it. Please, can you mute? Let's do it into this. Let's split it into, okay, 5, 5, 4, 4. This will be 5 rather. 5, 8, 3, 2, 2, and that story to complete the 21. So that story is ready. You start taking it in parts and then you start doing it. So that's why it's good to do that rough estimation during refinement. So that's that. You can put your hands down, Onome. Is that okay? Sorry, by you. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vivian.
Hi, thanks for the opportunity to ask the question. I just wanted to find out exactly what determines the number of story points you attribute to a user story. I know we did it now, but it's not quite clear to me, because is it the content of the story or is it the length of the story that determines the number of story points awarded to it?
Thank you for that question. So you see, when you are doing estimation, the reason I couldn't go into much details, and I'm happy you said it wasn't so clear, so that I know that when we are talking about it in the future, we'll still probably ring a bell on it. So you see, when you're writing this story and you now want to estimate that story point you want to put on a story, it doesn't comprise of, people always think, oh, it's time or something. It's not only time. It has to do with the whole effort it will take you to complete that story. And in this case, what is effort? The risk involved, the dependencies. When I mean the dependencies, I might be depending on A to be able to do something. Say, for example, in Prep Major, let me give a very silly example. If a student wants to download something to read, maybe you want to download a course, and the student goes inside Prep Major website and goes to click on download. Can you download if the instructor has not uploaded a story?
No.
It will be empty. So anybody doing the story for the student's part to be able to download, instructor should have uploaded. So instructor has to have uploaded. So that's a dependency for you to be able to do. So you would think of all those things. You are adding the risk involved, the dependencies involved, the amount of time you're going to do it, your technical skill to even do the thing. Do you know there are some stories that I'm now giving you a true life scenario. There are some stories that you're starting and you don't really know everything you're going to meet inside the story. Say, for example, you're trying to create something from fresh. You're trying to create something for fresh. You might need to do a bit of learning. Some people in their story, they will consider a 2-hour learning program. Like you have to watch maybe a document or something that the company has provided to be able to do that story. So you have to take 2 hours of your time. So that story is already getting big gradually because you need to cut out time to learn. You need to cut out time to start developing the story as a developer, amongst other things. So all these things build gradually for you to determine the effort you put into that story. So when I now sit down and think of it, that what will it take me to finish a whole landing page? Then I now look, okay, I'm going to put the header, I'm going to put the footer, I'm going to put the logo, I'm going to put the background color, I'm going to put background pictures, I'm going to do this. Do I need pictures from the customer themselves, that's the stakeholders or anything, for me to be able to put it to this background? Because if I'm doing a story for a stakeholder, they'll be the ones to provide the pictures in it. You get what I mean? So am I going to need to get, and there are some stakeholders, you call them, please send me a picture. They will not send day one, they will not send day two. All those things, you sit down and consider it first before you now think of that effort you want to put. Now, I think it's also good to mention that some organizations have already estimated, they've already done estimation and merged it to number of hours. So they put the whole of Fibonacci series probably up to maybe like 34. They just put 1, 2, 3, all the way to 34 in the Fibonacci series sequence. Then by the side, they will now put number of hours, So in your head, if you know that login page is going to take you between maybe 10 hours to finish it, that landing page, then you now go and check your Fibonacci series on the and now say, okay, this thing will take me 8 story points to complete a 10 hours job or something. You get what I mean? Yes. So it depends on your organization. Your organization plays a big role in how you do your story points. Now, for the sake of blue sky, with time, you get to know it. And at the beginning, if you remember what I said, it's okay to, I don't know if you remember that part of my slide where I say it's okay for you not to get it right the first time, but subsequently, so it's a feeling too. It's part of it. You calculating. Sometimes I can calculate, I want to do it in 3 hours and I end up doing it in 2 hours. That's a wrong estimation. So next time I'll put it to 2 hours, but I can go ahead and say I want to do it for 3 hours. But because I'm a newbie like you, Vivian, I've never done it before. That thing of 3 hours that Mr. Deji will do in 30 seconds, right? I can use 6 hours. I'm battling. Then the next time I'll know that, okay, since I've now done it in 6 hours, I want to believe it will not take me 6 hours next time. It might actually just take me 5 hours, right? The third time I'm going to do it, it might take me just 3.5 hours, not even 4, 3.5 hours. So with time, you become a pro. So it's okay to fail fast around these things. It takes time, but please remember that a lot of things encompass your story point, both time, risk, dependencies, everything that you think of on that story before that story will work out. And when I also mean dependencies, for example, like you want to run that thing to be sure it's working or something, before it depends on what you work on. But let me know overflog you, but I hope you get the gist.
Yeah, it's clear now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Daniel.
Yeah, thank you. So in a case where as a Scrum Master, let's say you are joining a team that is new to Scrum. Let's say they've always been doing waterfall and then they want to go agile and then they want to have a full Scrum team and all. And then now it's time to plan a sprint. And then you want to use the Fibonacci sequence. How do you because I see the numbers, maybe I missed it earlier. I see the numbers. I probably don't even know what they mean. So for instance, like when they were voting for the numbers, somebody picked one and just felt, oh, this is one. Like, how do you tell them this is what each number means? Like, I want to assume that the numbers are picked based on the complexity of the user story for that particular developer.
Yeah.
So now, how do you now bring everything together and say, okay, this is why we are doing this? Because I know that as a Scrum Master, one of your core objective is also to coach and all. So basically, for a young or for a new team, a team that is new to Scrum? How do you explain that this is what we're doing with the Fibonacci sequence and this is how it works? That's my number one question. Number two question is, now.
Wait, can we take it one after the other?
Yes, please, go ahead.
So that we don't forget.
Yes.
Moji, do you want to take it or I should go ahead?
All right, let me leave you so that you can go and drink water.
No, it's fine. I wanted you to, I like them to have, two feels about this, because if I explain it, I will be too wayward to start explaining what you should do when a team starts. That is me now deviating. So there are some basic things you should do when you're transitioning a team into Agile. You have to take it soft with them. So in that means of your transition, it's part of what we are doing now. We are transitioning you into Agile, right? So Moji, take it up first.
Okay. So
Thank you.
Thanks, Laomi. Thanks, Daniel. The main thing is what Laomi has just said. Okay, so it's like you said, is a team that is transitioning. So a part of your coaching would be to explain to your team what the estimation techniques are. It will be what some of the things you would coach them, which you will also get coached during the course of your internship, explaining to them the things, the factors, that constitute what number you pick to represent. And that part of what your question is part of what Delphine also asked. I think it was Vivian asked me a bit some few minutes ago. Another that what constitutes the number that you're picking, and that forms part of your estimation techniques that you're going to coach your team. The things that like complexity, the unknown, the volume of that story, how complex that story is, the technique and the buffer that you want to put in place to say, okay, I'm working on this. We're working on this for the first time and everything. I've looked at the complexity. I've looked at how voluminous it is, the things I need to do. I have to do this first before I do this, the dependencies, the risk, as Laomi has said earlier on and everything. And then you want to put a bit of buffer in it to say, okay, even if I'm feeling it's going to take me maybe an effort of 3, but because I'm doing it for the first time and I don't know what I'm going to meet in it, I want to give it a 5. And like Laomi explained earlier on, a story you give a 5 for the first time. If you're working on something similar to that, the next time you won't give it a 5 anymore, because now you've worked on it and you have a better knowledge. You have more knowledge, the unknown now. You'll be able to know some of the unknown. You've been able to work on an environment that you've not worked on before. You've been on that environment right now. You've seen some things. You know how you can do your code, refactor your code, change your code and things like that and everything to be able to work better as a developer. And all those knowledge that you've had and that experience you had for the first time when your story is big, or the number you picked, your story point that you pick is big, you're able to work with it now because of some familiarities that you now have, the knowledge and a bit of experience you have. Your story point keeps going down, and then by the time you become a pro, so you have a situation in a team whereby you have the people that have been in that team before, they are more experienced, and then you have Daniel coming in, who is a new developer in that team. And then you're seeing all the people that have been in the team before you join, picking maybe a 5 and a 3, and you're picking an 8 and a 13. Yeah, there's no big deal about that. You pick it and you confidently tell them what you're picking is. Okay, so I'm new in this thing, in this environment, let me put it that way, with this particular system. I need to understand it, how it works. So I'm giving myself this because I don't understand what I'm going to meet in it. But by the time you two have worked in it after a while for some time and you've gotten experience in it, you're able to pick a number closer to what the others are picking, because now you're able to relate, do you understand, to what they're doing. You're able to see the environment, you know how similar it is. You worked on a particular story and another one is coming which is similar to what you've worked on before. So you don't need to program a new code. You're just going to refactor what you've done used before in order to be able to do the ones you're going to do now. Like let's use an example of that registration now. So by the time you've done the registration and everything, if you're going to do the login, you know that part of the details or part of the things you've used for the registration, you're going to use for the login. So you can't pick a big story. You can't pick an 8 for registration and then pick a 13 effort for login, because to log in is quite the process for logging in is quite how will I put it, reduced,
more than what you use when you're going to code or when you're going to develop a register feature and functionality. So it depends. There are factors, like I said, that determines what determines the number that you pick. Experience also is in it, as I said, and other things that Laomi has talked about: dependencies, risk, the unknown, the volume, the complexity, and then the buffer you want to put in because of the unknown. Those are the things that determines your experience. Also determines the number you pick.
Thank you so much, Moji. I hope you understand that, Daniel.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Thank you. What's your second question?
So secondly, you mentioned that Agile is about, fail fast and, learn and improve on it. So is it possible to change estimation mid-sprint? So let's say, because here we'll be using 1 week sprint, but let's say, in an actual organization, and then let's say you're using 2 week sprint, and let's say you've estimated, say, and then you've given it, like you've had the estimation, and then suddenly there's an impediment and all, and things have to be delayed. Now, will you just run through the that sprint and then just reflect on it during your retrospective and like make changes for the future, or it's possible to change to adjust estimation mid-sprint?
Okay. I almost want to go with the part of you already answering the question already. So the thing is, for me, it's a no, right? For you to change the estimation, you have already committed it. What are you changing? But need I tell you that in Nigeria, plenty of people cheat and just change the estimation and do scope change. But no, you have estimated. However, if something comes up, maybe as you are working in that sprint, you now realize that, I need to do, when you were committing, you only thought of A, B, C, and then you now put 2 as your estimation, which was the average the team took, and then you started working on it. And then mid-sprint, the PO just comes and says, this is this. Or while you are working on it, you realize that you need to do D, E, F. Onus is on you to raise up your hand, discuss with the PO, discuss with the Scrum Master and the team. You can actually write another story, of course, with the help of the BA. You can write another story to cover that new aspect you want, and the team agrees and commit it mid-sprint. As long as you know you're going to finish that story this sprint, there's no problem. But you going back into estimation, but to start changing estimation, in fact, Azure Devil might not even allow you. Do you get? But in Jira, people do it. But as a Scrum Master, you stop your people from doing that and tell them that it's easier for them to go and write a new story or a subtask and add to that and then carry on. So it is just for you to learn. There's no one way about it. I'm just giving you a typical example I've seen on that particular thing. So it's not a given, but ideally for me, I will not change estimation mid-sprint and then blah, 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 blah. I would rather advise you to do another story, commit it, and add it to sprint, as long as you guys are going to finish it. Deji, your hands are up. Do you want to say something contrary or add to that?
No,
Daniel
I
to have a
really,
good understanding.
yeah, I think, you are actually very, very on point, actually. Right? So, because the purpose, one thing I want to say first, I used to tell my team, this is estimate. It's not the real number, right? And sometimes if I want to go very, very informal, and I tell them it's a guesstimate. So you don't put them on pressure that, okay, when they say 5, it has to be 5. It's a guesstimate. Just put an arbitrary number in there. And you're bound to get it wrong. And when you get it wrong, let's say you estimated it to be 5, eventually and you thought, this could have been 13. That's fine. You've learned from it. Next time you want to do the same story or a similar story, like Olaomi said, you will now estimate as 13 because now you know more. And while Olaomi was talking, Wumi was talking about the metrics are used for estimation. One of them was the unknown, right? As you know more, your estimation becomes clearer and better. And for a mature team, when they're estimating, their estimation would now be aligning with number of hours and days. Because when they say 5 as a point, sometimes the 5 could be 3 days, 2 days, because now they are mature, they know what they're talking about. But as a new team, you would kind of grow into that, right? As a new team with a new product, and even for a new team that doesn't know anything about Agile, you would grow. But with that, you shouldn't be changing estimation within the sprint. You just let it slide. And to be honest, I won't even advise creating a new story. Just let it go, and that's it. And you learn you made a mistake. But if the story has changed mid-sprint, right? And you just tell the Scrum on the PO, this one, we have to create another story at the back of that. And I know some team could also raise their hand up and say, oh, this story was 5. Now we're going to remain as 5, right? And we're going to create another one to cover those ones that should be at 8. Some teams do that as well. So with that, they reduce the scope of that particular story, right? To say that we found that we mess it up anyway. So they create another story at the back of that, but you won't change this, that particular estimate, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Spot on. But, do you have a clarity on that, Daniel?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you so much. Should I ask you again, Mr. Deji, is your hand still up or is legacy hand?
Sorry, it's legacy. I'm going to take it out. Thank you.
Okay. Abdul. Abdul, we can't hear you and you are not muted. So I think you should talk, but we can't hear you. Okay, I think the best bet, you might need to maybe log out and log in back. Now you're muted. Okay, he has gone off. Ruth, do you want to take your shot?
Hi, good evening. Thank you. So my question is, ideally in a work setting, would you say a Scrum Master's role is synonymous to a project manager? That's my first question. And my second question is...
Should we take it one after the other so that we
all
don't
right,
forget?
yes, that's fine.
Okay, so the first answer is a no. It's actually a no. Stop me when you're ready. No. So,
okay.
They are both completely different roles. However, of course, you have one or two things that might be alike, but they are completely different roles. So you're a Scrum Master. You have nothing to do with managing. You see that they did not put Scrum Manager or something. Do you get? It's different if they have a reason for a separate role for you to manage your team. But in Scrum, there's no managing. You and your team are equals. You are on the same level, plus PO, plus developer. It's just that, nature, by nature in our head, we are thinking, okay, maybe our PO is superior or something. No, but really in Scrum, we're all equal. I showed you guys a caricature of what a team looks like, the developers, the Scrum Master, and a PO. So what you're doing as a Scrum Master is very different. You are guiding your team, right? Or will I say you are making sure your team goes through the agile best practices. They are already skilled people. So you're just making sure that you make them learn how to self-organize. You're making sure they are cross-functional. You're making sure that they're achieving what they set out to do, to an extent. You're making sure that they are following the right channels and doing the right things. You're making sure that they are able to collaborate properly. You're making sure your team is able to have that healthy conversation among themselves, which is, collaboration too anyways. You're making sure that if they have any impediment, you are removing it. You are doing that. But a project manager on a different level is focused on the project now, right? The project manager is trying to manage that project. Is focused on the budget of the project, the cost of the project, the people that are working on the project, this one. And the project manager also has people he's holding accountable for different things, you understand? So the project manager is doing something different. There is managing, the project. It's not even about just the team. there are other sub roles that the project manager will hold accountable for delivery. It can even be an ADM depending, but that one will be if the project is an agile project anyways. But if it is, a waterfall project, you might not have an ADM there. It will be another type of delivery manager and all that. So there's no one way about it for this one than to say that it's different. However, it just looks as if one is leader. In Scrum, there's no leader, there's no anything. You're not managing anything. You are a nobody. The developer is a nobody. You're all the same level. You are just trying to guide, to make sure your team follows the best practices. You're making sure they do all those part of the things I said. Make sure you motivate them to be happy with work. Make sure they follow all the Scrum values. Make sure there's openness within the team. Make sure they respect each other. Make sure they have courage to talk. They're able to, we also have some things here, and just make sure all those ones. That's your own as Scrum Master. So you're not managing your team. You're not a project manager. You're not going to be doing work breakdown structure or this one. You're not doing that. It's not your stuff. You're not doing costing. You're not doing, budgeting or all those kind of things. Moji, do you want to add to that?
That's why allow me your point. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ruth, is that clear to you before you ask your second question?
Yes, it's very clear. And my second question is, since you've answered the first one, I don't think I'll ask the question, but
okay,
I might ask because in the course of carrying out the project, what if a risk occurs, and how do you go about, handling that particular risk, on the project? Maybe would there be a document to manage that particular risk, to mitigate it from, not occurring, or I don't know how to put it, but if there's something similar to.
Okay, thank you for your question. So there's something we call a risk log, right? So it depends if your team is more of a reactive team, is when they'll be slow in identifying all these risks. Maybe something has happened before the risks. But if they are working ahead, even before we start, they would have been flying around. Okay, say for example, that information I gave earlier, they told you that, do the students to be able to download this, blah, 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 blah. And instructor has not even done anything. In fact, instructor have not even started any part of it. So even before that sprint planning starts, your team, they're already flying hands up that, okay, this is the risks we're envisaging. If this is not this is not here, this is not. Now there are some other external risks. Maybe we need Microsoft to help us do something. You can't control them. Or maybe you need a design team to help you work on something before you start your part of the project. Those are risks of non-delivery. That's delivery risks. If those people don't give you those things you're asking for on time when you need it, how do you want to proceed? So all those risks, we open a risk log and then you put it there. Now, your risk log, you can color code it, you can do anything. You can also, for me, one thing I used to tell people so that I don't forget is when you get to an organization, ask what they are doing first. Before you can even think you want to improve on that thing, right? Ask them, do they have a risk log for such? If they have, give me a template, and then you look at it. If you meet up to the standard of what you probably previously know or what you made research of, well and good. But if it doesn't meet it, then you can be thinking of how to refine. But at least first get their own and know how they do their risk log. Now on the risk log, you have the different columns there, right? Moji, do you want to help me with that? It's flying off my head. You are really right. I need water or something. But you have a risk log where you log all those things. So the things that you think you can resolve even before the start of the project, you're already putting it there. Okay, this one looks good, it's green, but we're just mentioning it because it cannot, you just list all those things. The team will discuss about it, and then if it's something you need to escalate, immediately you are flagging it up. You're already showing it to the appropriate stakeholders. So you are creating that log before even the start of the sprint. So probably during refinement, when the PO brings the priorities already, You know, you guys are already envisaging the risks that can happen in that particular project. So you're already flashing it out that, okay, this. And then you're able to show it in your log. So every team, please make sure you keep your risk log. The reason is because you don't know when you will need to show these things to stakeholders. You have to be ready and be proof so that nobody will hold you somewhere that's, okay, you're not doing what you need to do. Have those logs down. As they are mentioning it, just be putting it inside already. There are some times that you might not even need to open a risk log, like on Jira, and I think if you also download it on Azure DevOps, you can have it too. I know on Jira, you can even just color code straight away, make the ones that are impediment, you put it there as impediment already. So it's already flashing you. So you open an impediment log or a risk log or anything, just open it down. Your team, they are feeling it, putting it there, and then the ones you people can resolve, you resolve it. The one you cannot resolve as a team, start throwing it up, start flying it up. Please don't take in stories that don't meet the DOR and the DOD, or else you just start the sprint without achieving what you need to achieve. Moji, do you want to help out?
Yeah, thanks,
Sorry,
Yanni.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
if I have a background noise. Please, firstly, can you give me the details of the risk log if you remember some of the things in it?
Yeah, so you need to have the dates there. You need to have the details, which is what the risk is all about. You need to know who owns that risk.
Thank you.
So you might definitely have that. Okay, this risk belongs to, is it the BA, is it the PO, and all that. You're looking also into timeline that you're going to resolve it. You're looking into how is it resolved, so that in future, in case you have something similar happening, do you understand? Rather than looking for okay, so we have to wait for the PO to come and resolve it. You just check your risk log as it's like a record to you. How was it resolved before? And then being able to resolve that thing, because the person that resolved it before when it happened might not be around. Maybe he's on holiday. Do you understand? Such a thing, or might not even be in the team anymore. But if you have a risk log in place and you have that record in place, you're able to have a look at it and be able to say, okay, this was how we resolved it when it happened, and then be able to resolve it. So always make sure that you have the owner of the risk is there, the date it was reported, the day it was resolved, because that gives you a timeline of, okay, so how soon can such a risk be or impediment be resolved, and then how it was done. Always put those details, and like Laomi said, keep it somewhere where team members can also come and put information on it, and then just track, monitor it as you progress along to make sure that they are actually resolved and closed off.
Thank you so much. So is that clear, Ruth?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Deji, do you want to add?
No, I don't want to add. I think that's fine. I want to put a timer on this, so we need to finish this in 2 minutes. So I'm creating a meeting room, actually breakout room for everyone, so that the team can use 15 minutes to meet themselves and have a quick discussion. Actually, like an introduction. If you want to introduce yourself for 15 minutes. So let's leave that. So in the next 2 minutes, let's finish this one so that we can break out into rooms.
Okay, thanks for that. So please, nobody else should raise up your hand. We only have Abdul and Emanuela. Abdul, you're going to go for 1 minute. Emanuela, 1 minute. So Abdul, your talk is 20 seconds questions, then I'll use 40 to answer. Shoot.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the explanation. I just want to ask the estimation number, what does it really imply? Is it days? I mean, the average estimated number after each team member have picked a card, is it days, or what difference does it make if it's 4 or 15 or 10?
Okay, so we've been saying effort, the effort you will use to do something. Can I be more explicit? Like the effort it will take me to paint a room, right? Is different from the effort it will take me to paint the whole house. So if I want to put Fibonacci series for painting a room, I can pick 3 for painting the room, because it might not take me more than 2 hours to paint a small room or something. For example, I'm just saying. Now, if you tell me to paint the whole house, it can take me 2 weeks or something. So the effort I'm going to use to do that one has to be a large Fibonacci series now. Do you understand? So it's about effort it takes you to do a particular thing. That's what we've been trying to tell you. So the effort, the the things you have considered, your experience. Do I have the technical skills to quickly do this thing? Is there any risks holding this thing? Are there any impediments? Is there any dependency? Is there any this? Am I going on holiday? Is there any technical, all the effort? No, you don't even need to put holiday, but your experience and all that, that's what you use to determine whether you can do it or not. So that's that. I hope he answers your question. Emanuela, you have just 30 seconds.
Hi. I just wanted to find out where the DA comes in. Haven't heard much of the role of a DA and all those. So.
Mr. Deji, please can you help us wrap that up so you can now go to the breakout room afterwards?
All right, that's a good question anyway. So in terms of DAs, most teams don't have a DA. Most Scrum Masters, as Scrum teams, I would say, don't have a DA. However, in a data-related team, right, you have a DA. And you consider DA as a developer, right? Because you are going to be developing those visualization stories, actually. So when you mention developer, that is where you stand, right? So there will be, in some cases, like I've worked in a data-related team. So DA, your work is a bit big, actually. In some team, you'll be your developer, you'll be the BA, you'll be the QA, right? So that's how big it is, right? But you might as well work in a team that's got a BA, right? So they will tell you what you need to do. They give you a story for that particular, maybe Excel or Tableau or Power BI or whatever you want to visualize. So they give you a story. Then you would now serve as a developer and doing that, right? That's what you would do. But in some cases, that at that point, then you pass it to a QA to test, right? And in some cases, you might not even have that luxury, right? You will be the one that will have to elicit your requirements, right? And after that, you'll be the one that will develop it. And unfortunately for you, you'll be the one that will also test it as well. Do you get it now? And you pass it to the stakeholder. So that's, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So now on that note, there you see a pop-up on your screen, everyone. So there are two groups now, Ruby and Emerald. So I will ask you to start joining each one of them, right? Whether based on where you are. So you have opportunity to join, each one. So know your team. If you are a mentor, right, or a body, I know you've not been assigned the team, so just pick one and join. Okay, so just pick one, or if you're a mentor, maybe you should wait as well so you can see, so that we don't see everyone joining one team. But I think you can just join one. So let's try to do that right now. So based on your team, can you join one? I can see some people already join Ruby now. So look for your team. And so on your team, try to talk about, know your people, right? Most especially the Scrum Master, okay? Start to talk about, so, okay, so there's still a lot of people here, okay?
Sorry, there's no pop-up.
I can't see any pop-up.
There will be a pop-up because people are joining right now.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing any.
There's no pop-up. You need to.
There is no pop-up here too.
Just click on.
I cannot see
Click
any
on your
pop-up.
screen. Click on your screen, you see breakout room.
Thank you. Click on your screen, you will see breakout room. Actually, if you don't see any pop-up, you see join breakout room. That's what you're going to see. If you go to where all your participants are on your major screen, you will see join breakout. Then you click on it. Right. Okay, you see join breakout room, so you can join that. So can all the mentors and the bodies also join any of the teams, please? Because in the major room, I don't want to have anyone, so I still have like a lot of people in the.
I cannot see anything, no.
Same here.
Same here.
If you are
on a laptop? Or
yeah, I'm on a laptop.
I'm on a laptop.
If you're on a laptop, go to breakout rooms. So there will be there'll be more, right? I think,
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And you see breakout, right? And you can join, so join the one for your team.
I joined the breakout room, but there's no one specifying the team that I will belong to.
So there will be a team that they've allocated to you, right? You will be in a team.
Yeah, Emirate, but I can't find that here.
So there's Emirate as well. So can you see where you have the breakout rooms?
Not yet.
Are you on your phone or on the laptop?
Laptop.
So do you see the more? Yeah, can you see breakout?
I can see breakout now.
Can you see the teams?
I can see breakout, but no team yet.
Yeah, someone is actually putting, say, icon between record and reaction is the breakout room. So yeah, if you see breakout room, right? If you check for breakout room, there's always going to be that breakout room. Then you can, yeah, click on it. Look out for the breakout room. Okay. The number is reducing, which is good. Okay.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi,
if you
Deji.
are a mentor, yeah, about this. Or 1 minute. If you are also in advance, pick one room and join. Okay. All right. Yeah. So
Yeah, I was just gonna say I didn't see my name in any of the rooms, Stan. So I should just join any of the rooms.
Are you in the advance?
Yeah. This is Stan.
Yeah, but you're in one of the advanced team, right?
Yeah, I'm in the Scrum advanced team.
Yeah. Okay. Pick one team and then join.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't joined any yet.
Sorry?
I haven't joined any team yet.
What do you mean? Who is talking?
Bukola.
Yeah, like I said, Bukola, you are one of the bodies, right? No, hold on, Bukola what? Yes,
Bukola Shufade.
So you are one of the interns, are you? Or are you in advance?
No, interns.
So they will already assign you to a team. You should be in a team. You need to go and check the team that you belong to.
Okay, Emirate.
Okay, all right. So Abdul Abdulgafar Abimbola Denike, can you join the team? Bukola, Folakemi, Joy, Muyiwa, Okun, Ocean, can you join a team? Okay, Onome, Rexford, Ruth, Sheung, and Victoria. I'm waiting for you guys to join a team. We have only 10 more minutes to finish. You need to join a team. If you're in advance, right, they've not assigned you to any room that you're going to be bodies on. Just pick one team and join. And in fact, let me see how the team. Okay, it's even good. The team are evenly distributed. Actually, please, Abdul.
Please, where do I check the team I belong to? Maybe I missed something.
You need to go to Telegram group. They've already sent it to the Telegram group.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you an intern?
Yes, I'm an intern.
Okay, you need to go
Okay.
to.
Okay, I've sent it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So Bukola, waiting for you. Joy, Muyiwa, Onome, Ruth, Sheung. Abdulgafar, Adenike, Bukola, Shofade, Joy.
I'm still here. I'm still struggling with it.
What are you struggling? Do you know your team, right?
My team is Emerald, but I can only join it via Teams.
No, I'm not saying teams. In this Zoom meeting, there will be breakout room. You have where the breakout room.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't find that.
Are you on the phone or a laptop?
On the laptop, please.
Yeah, so look out for where you see breakout room. So Judy, can you be muted, please? Joy Junior 4, please.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And I need you to leave the meeting. You need to join the appropriate meeting, Joy, please. Okay, Bukola.
Is this not the right meeting?
You need to join your team now. Okay, you need to join your team now. Okay, Bukola. Okay, Bukola is gone. Okay, that's good. So okay, Adenike, Abdulgafar, Joy, I need you guys to join your meeting. Muyiwa, Okoshan, I need you to join your meeting.
So Onome and Rexford.
Yes, sir. I just joined the breakout room now. I don't know which meeting you asked me to join, sir.
Exactly, I don't know as well.
In Telegram.
Yeah, Abdulgafar, you are one of the intern. So you are one of the bodies, okay? You need to pick a team and join, okay?
I've joined the Emirate forum.
Okay. You need to, on this, there's a breakout room that you need to join, okay? If you already join the breakout room, you will not be in this. I will not be hearing you again, okay? If you can still hear me, right, you have not joined your breakout.
I can still hear you.
Yeah, so you need to join a breakout room. Yeah.
So what link should I use?
Boy.
What name?
I actually joined, sir. I actually joined the breakout room.
But we can hear them in breakout room.
You cannot hear them in breakout room. If you are hearing me, right, you are hearing general team. Or someone else.
I'm in this 2023 Emerald Blue.
No. If you go to Zoom, right, you will see breakout room in this meeting. In this meeting,
Okay, let me check.
Please, guys, feel free. Explain yourselves. Make it.
Someone has joined a team.
Thank you, Vivian, for taking it up. But after every person, you should be able to.
Where can I get the breakout room?
So they really know that this person is next. He puts that. He puts that sequential order, and everybody's able to. You get what I mean, Vivian? So this is all on you. You're the one taking the show. So this is your show. Yeah. So call them.
Muyiwa, what's happening?
I've joined, but I don't know what is happening here. I can hear them right here.
So do you have two devices?
Okay, I use my phone, and because the laptop
so
is.
You need to log out from this one. Okay.
All right.
So that is the issue. Okay.
All right.
Abdulgafar, can you join? Okay. Nikki or Ocean, I'm going to put you in the waiting room. I'm going to assume that you guys are not here if you are not talking now. Okay. So Joy, Nikki, Ocean, I'm going to assume that, and Rexford, I'm going to assume that you are not here. Okay.
I'm here.
So then you need to join your team. Okay. You need to, so Tunde, you are one of the mentors, or even okay. So you need to join one of the teams, okay? Rexford, you need to join one of the teams, and Kayode, you need to join one of the teams, one of the breakout teams, okay? So, and yeah, you need to pick one of the breakout teams and join. So you need to join. Okay, Joy, are you able to join any of the teams? Joy? Rexford? Kayode? Okun? Ocean? Okay. Rexford and okay, I'm going to put you in the waiting room. It shows that you guys are not here anyway. And Rexford, you're going to be in the waiting room as well. Okay, cool.